Hello and welcome to the Old Man Orange Podcast. I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
I'm Ryan Dunnigan, and that was actually what you said. You're like, hello! Like you're like an old Japanese dude there for a second.
It's like, hello! And
Japanese grandpa.
Man, podcast here from Sonora, California. Just like, what the fuck? It's like, yes, like I was a slave here. I worked at gold mines, and now I do a podcast.
They never let me leave until now.
I escaped.
Revenge shall come. Greatest nemesis.
Is the dynamite stick, did they tell me? Oh, just walk in there. Carry that dynamite stick. You know, you'll find somewhere to put it down. I mean, come on. It's just like, here, let me light it for you. Okay, now. Okay.
It's like
you go in there, you walk in there. My name not Johnny. Okay, nobody cares what your name is. We'll just call you Billy for right now. Carry that dynamite stick, walk as far in that mine as possible, and set it down. I mean, it's pretty simple. I'm not asking much. How long is the timer on this? For fuck's sake, I don't know.
Y'all was pretty good at math, right?
It seems like, about one beer is about the equivalent of how long it takes for that thing to go off, depending on how fast you drink it.
No, that voice actually just kind of reminded me. It's been at least possibly a good, I don't know, maybe 20 years since I've seen it, but it just popped in my mind, and you know what I'm talking about. Do you remember that movie, Three Ninjas?
Yeah, I actually have that movie.
Do you remember, wasn't like three white kids, but somehow they had a Japanese grandpa? Was it their uncle or was it their grandpa?
It was grandpa, I think.
Were they all white, but they had like a Japanese grandpa somehow that was unexplained?
That's what I was wondering. I can't remember how, because it's not like the mom was fucking Japanese or something like that. I think the grandpa was just one of those ones like.
They just call him grandpa.
Maybe it sort of was back in the day that the white family owned this Japanese family for going into the mine.
He just adopted a Japanese guy.
And then over time it's like that just became the place everybody sent their kids to. Okay, guys, you're going away for the weekend or for the summer to learn martial arts and discipline, and to get the fuck out of our way.
Basically, the grandpa just like, I'm tired of teaching these kids. They're all so fucking stupid here. I'm just gonna hang a dummy, and every single time they punch it in a certain spot, its eyes will light up.
And you know what I learned is they really like to kick it in the balls a lot.
Yeah, this will play a crucial time later in their life. Because I remember that there's a part.
Somebody else in the balls. Yeah, that's very end when they found that big guy. He's like, whoa! They're like, oh, it's just like the dummy. Hit him in the armpit and the neck and the balls.
Yeah, I kind of like that part. That was as a kid, that was the first time oh, it came full circle back around. I remember that. That was one of the first times as a kid, oh, wow, it all connects now, Because before then, I wonder why they're hitting that. Now, this age, you see enough movies, oh, that shit's gonna come back around. But when you're a kid, that was the first time where it goes oh, everything's connected. Like the Lion King.
It goes full circle.
Yeah.
So I went to go get some Japanese peanuts, and when I went to cross the fucking road down there, on the way back, there was this humongous, parade of motorcycles. Just, as far as the fucking eye could see, there was motorcycles coming down. And I was like, what the fuck's going on? Why is there so many
motorcycles? Is this in downtown Sonora?
Yeah, and I'm standing there and I'm eating peanuts and stuff, and everybody's fucking waving and shit. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And then people keep waving at me, and then I'm like, oh, fuck, I'm sitting here eating nuts looking at a parade. God damn it.
You're part of the problem.
That's all I want. I want to cross the goddamn street. There's no, bridge or shit I can go across.
You realize you became part of the problem.
I really did. I was sitting there eating nuts and stuff. And it's they all thought, they're like, oh, look at that kid. He really enjoys us. Let's rev it up even louder. It's like, God damn it. I just want to go across the street, man. That's all I want.
Did you just kind of cut through a bunch of Harley Davidsons, sneaking behind them or anything?
No,
or
I waited. It was a 10
I don't know. I mean, there's so... I mean, granted here... Here's the thing. Whenever there's a parade, whatever it is, whether it be a Christmas parade or let's all walk our fucking dogs down the street or, Harley Davidson parade, people get excited. That's something for this town to happen. Now, not everybody, but this town, whenever parade or protest happens, a handful of people are excited, but a lot of people are like, God damn, unless it's the Pride Parade or something, it's just a protest, and everyone else, like, there's people in the protest are very, like, amped up, and everyone else is like,
God damn it, I just want to cross the street and go fucking to the store that I want to get to, goddamn.
That's kind of what it's like.
Think parades and stuff, I will say this, I think it's a very old-fashioned thing. I think this day and age, it's just kind of like, yeah. I mean, I guess I don't want to, like, rain on somebody's parade, but it's just one of those ones, like, okay, we got to see a bunch of people drive by going real slow, blocking the streets, blocking the parking lots, and they can't even throw candy out anymore. So, like, what's the goddamn point in that?
Not that at this age I even eat candy anymore, but, you know, still, just the idea. I like the.
Well, when I was a kid, they used to be able to, like, chuck candy out, you know, at you, and you'd get it and whatnot, but they can't do that anymore. But like, those kids, like, go like, oh, fuck, there's some Skittles, and they run out, and they get ran over by Grandpa going, like, you know, 5 miles per hour in his Shiner cart.
Yeah.
Oh, I just hit a little boy.
It's okay, I'm already over 80. What are they going to do? They ain't going to send me to jail. I'll just say I was senile.
If I eat him, nobody will see him.
Or you could just play, or I guess that's a good cover for any, like, homeless person, not any homeless, or any old guy.
Homeless person, they just start eating
either
somebody,
or, like, yeah. Homeless guy, they just put him down, a cop would just beat the fuck out of him with a baton, no one would care. Old guy could do that, and then it's like, sir, you just killed a child. And he goes like, vanilla sundae, like, what? You know, like, cranberries, you know, just starts saying, like, oh, he's senile, he doesn't know what the fuck's going on. So by that point, what are they going to do? He just amp it up.
Kind of like a hug to him.
Yeah. Murder's like a hug. No, he could just, I guess that's a bright side of any old, I don't know why I say homeless, any old guy.
Well,
second shit goes bad.
You know, old people are sort of like homeless people sometimes, you know, because a lot of times they're living in houses that aren't technically theirs.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point. No, but I guess that, because, like, if they ever do commit a crime, you almost could just play it up, pretend like you have dementia or you have Alzheimer's or something like that, and, you know, like, sir, you cannot defecate in this parking lot. Hello, Billy! I haven't seen you since it rained cats and dogs back in the Philippines. You know, just
I'm baking brownies for you. Want a taste?
Baking brownies out of my butt oven. It's like some fucking, like, senile old fuck who doesn't know what's going on.
Like, is he homeless or is he senile? I'm not too sure. Can he be both? Well, I guess it can be both, but. Sir, do you have a license? Where's your collar? Who owns you? What? Yeah.
I once knew Thomas Wayne.
And Thomas Edison. What a prick.
I tell you, Edgar Allan Poe, he was a real puss. Not much of a boxer, I tell you.
We used to kick his ass every day and say that you're a fag, Poe, you fucking pag.
He'd bleed pudding. It's like, all right, this guy doesn't. Just get this guy the fuck out of here.
We had a nickname for him. We called him Peg, which was Poe and fag together, because that's what he was. Is somebody gonna clean this shit up here? I walk this street every day. Sir, that's your own shit. Oh.
I walk it every day!
Somebody better clean this shit up! I didn't go to Civil War for this bullshit to happen here.
Even though it's not bullshit, it's actually your shit,
hey,
once again.
Sir, I don't think you've been to any war. Oh.
Cranberries!
He just starts running around. Oh! His arms waving in the air and stuff. Like, what the fuck?
You know one's gonna arrest that dude. They're just gonna, like, okay, they're gonna gently put their hands on his shoulder, put him in the back of the car, like, where's his home? Just drop him off there, and that's all that's gonna happen. You know?
Tell the owner it's okay.
I guess that is the one of the
newspaper, and you hit him across the nose, and you tell him, no, don't go outside again.
I guess that is one of the best things. We're saying this, but there's gonna be a point. I mean, I guess, say, air quotes, if we're lucky enough, I guess we'll be that crazy old man. We'll become the very thing we're making fun of. So. Well,
there was this thing. This made me laugh so hard. It was in one of the Muscle and Fitnesses, and it was like the 10 Commandments of the gym. You know, kind of like all the things that, like, it's like, thou shalt not, like, listen to his music and sing out loudly. Thou shalt not put the weights in the wrong place and all that stuff. And at the very end, it said, thou shalt not walk around naked. But the sad truth is is that you always see that old man walking around naked in the gym, and you know that that will be you someday.
There always is that those old guys in the gym that would just kind of look at you like, "Why aren't you not naked, fag?" You know?
Yeah, only fags
They would
don't look at each other's cocks.
No, because I remember when I would go in there back at like class 5, I would literally go in the gym, and there would be like 3 crusty old fucks sitting in there, just standing naked, arms on hips, talking.
Or sitting on the bench, which they clearly have a towel, yet they're not going to lay the towel down on the bench.
And as soon as you walk in, they kind of stop and look at you and give you this weird look, like, "Why aren't you naked? You should be naked. This is the locker room. It's not gay if it's in the locker room, you know." So it just,
in real life, women don't let us walk around naked with each other, but here we can be men and be naked together.
It's a real bonding experience, you know. This is what my Sunday pastor taught me, you know, back in the day.
For honorary Moose Lodge handshake, where we pull the moose out and take it and shake with the other moose.
We're not even. I don't even think we're 10 minutes in. This is probably the gayest episode we've ever had.
It's like,
but no,
it's old gay too to top it off. It's not even like young, sexy gay. It's just a bunch of old guys like shaking dicks inside of like a restroom at a gym.
It's grand gay. It's grand gay. There you go.
Grand gay.
Grand and gay. No, but like, yeah, every time I went in there, and then like, I would kind of go, because I'm literally one of those guys, I would not really like I'd get naked in the shower, that's about it. And I would even go as far, sometimes, just to hop, you know, by the time I got to my boxers, hop in the shower, throw the boxers by my bag, then go.
Like the quick, like, you know, like there's a split second that somebody might be able to see you if they were like trying hard, but not enough, like almost like it's a side profile. Like you're in a movie and you're kind of got like movie editing. He's standing sideways so you can't see anything.
Yeah, exactly, you know. And when that was happening, they'd almost be like, "Is he gonna do it? Is he gonna do it? Is he part of the club?" Like, "Oh, he failed us again." You know.
What a fucking pussy.
Yeah, like as soon as you drop your drawers, you're one of them. Like I'm wondering if I ever did just drop my drawers when I got in there, if they just put their hand on my shoulder, like I don't know, like, "Oh, what the fuck?" You know, like, "You're one of us now." You know.
You know, do you remember that guy Case at the gym?
Case? Is that? I'm gonna say.
He's kind of Native American, big, tall, kind of loud.
Was he kind of like? Was he the guy like? What was it like? He's like, that's an offensive term. Like, my dick's an offensive term. Or something. He said something like that. What was it? Or like?
No, that was the time. Like I was walking up, he was talking about. He's like, there was some guy at the climbing wall who told me I should come up there and climb and whatnot, and stuff. And he's like, "No, climbing's stupid." And the guy was like, "Yeah, well, I bet you can't do it." And he's all, "Yeah, I could climb that wall with my dick." And this is the funny part. The guy was all like, he's like, "Oh yeah, I'd like to see you do that." He's like, "Of course, I bet you'd like to see my dick." It was like so dumb, but that's
almost like that is like probably one of the most primal kind of like immature things you could probably say. But on top of that, you would have no response. Yeah, fuck it, done. I'm just, you know, it's kind of like you could probably have the best response ready, and he's like, "Yeah, well, whatever I say, it's not gonna reach this guy. Fuck it, I'm done." You know, impenetrable defense.
There was one time. He was all, "Spencer, there's a bunch of fucking kids inside the restroom. They've been there for like an hour on their phone." And he like wanted to go take a shower or something. I'm like, "Well, just go in there, rip off all your clothes, and just stand there and look down on them, stare at them." So he went in there and did it, and then next thing you know, those kids are like all booking it out, like, "Oh God, that guy just came in there, ripped his clothes off, and started staring at us."
Starts adjusting his shit while looking at him, like all wide-eyed, not
like he was gonna rape us while punching us in the face. So really, if you want to get people out of the bathroom, get naked and get scary.
Just stand there, just like kind of like with a slight hunch, eyes wide open, not blinking, maybe kind of bite your lip for a second, kind of look back at him, you know?
I guess first and foremost,
you gotta be
kind of like tall and threatening looking, like.
Then if you're short, you just stand up on like one of the benches and do that then.
And then you know like a fucking hawk looking down on him.
Yeah, or like Batman, like hunched over a gargoyle looking over.
Like what? Get on top of the lockers and like hunch over like Batman naked, just like ready to pounce.
If you got it on you, if you got like one of those little portable speakers and an iPod, maybe start playing like Hans Zimmer theme, like as you're hunched over staring at people.
So you're gonna get a takedown from like Arkham Asylum.
Exactly. I don't know what would be a scarier place to get a takedown in the men's room.
I know, that'd be horrible. Well, it's kind of like it's like in 007 Goldeneye when that guy's sitting there, you know, he's going like, man, this is the safest place. You know what I mean? Out of all the places on this base, this toilet this is where I finally feel comfortable. Nothing's gonna happen to me here. I tell you what, I can read in peace. Not even the general knows where I'm at. You know what I mean? He's not gonna come in here, yell at me. For fuck's sake, he might shoot me. He shot that other guy just for like acting up. Oh fuck! Put a radio in here. That's nice. Finally, then I'll just like hear the other guy taking a shit. And all of a sudden he comes down. You're like, oh fuck! The only place that was safe. And a guy comes from above.
Was he literally sitting down taking a shit when 007 killed him?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a sad.
He might have got up, but like that always.
Sometimes I'm surprised because you think they would at least be like, I don't know. You think there'd at least be time for 007 to come down right behind him, like, did you wash your hands? Snap his neck or something like that. You know, at least one little 007 one-liner. He'd probably have something a little more clever than that. Yeah. You know, like.
This place is really. Wash your hands and he like shove his head like inside the toilet.
That's more like I think a Stallone thing. Did you wash your hands? Or Arnold, like, did you wash your hands? You know, flush him. I think the other one would be. I guess the other one you could probably go with would be. Your day's really hitting the shitter, isn't it? You know. I know it's Pierce Brosnan, but I think it's Pierce Brosnan. I know it's Sean Connery, but you know, Sean's easier to do than Pierce Brosnan.
I was about to say, I'm like, boy, it must have sucked because when somebody found that guy, they're like, oh, fuck, Bill, Jesus Christ, did you have to fucking die here? But I was like, oh no, Bond blew up the entire place, so, you know, that's really like the least of the guy's worries by this point.
I guess that's a good point. So there's burnt body parts and shit everywhere because, you know, he had to destroy some of the plumbing.
So there's just like a corpse. Like the only thing that survived this bomb blast is there's a skeleton sitting on top of a toilet. What a shame.
What a shit show. What?
That'd be a horrible place to, like, get killed, though, when you think about it. You just think, you really do, because you're very, like, whenever you're on the toilet, though, there is that sense of danger. Like, if something goes down, I am fucking kind of stuck.
Yeah, Zombieland got that point across pretty
Oh, yeah, they did get that in that one. Just like, you think about anything. Like, just say your house just randomly caught on fire, you're like, oh, fuck.
I would have this if I'm in public and I'm using a restroom. I do have this initial sense of fear that something's wrong with the lock, and I'm just gonna have to jump
see like an eyeball like poking in like through like a little crevice,
like an old like 1800s eye, like from the keyhole that you'd never see anymore.
It's got a little monocle you can see, like it flickers off like the light.
No, I just got this. I got this irrational fear, and it's happened before, and the reason to be that scared of it. But like,
did somebody literally
something's wrong with the lock
slowly underneath?
No, not even that. I'm talking about just a public, literally a restroom. I mean, that itself could be kind of scary.
If you're just sitting there in a public restroom and all of a sudden this guy just slides, you don't even know how he's really sliding. He just slides
back
on his back, looks up at you, and then like, slowly slides back out.
He's like, "Hey, guy, got into a paper? Cool, a little low back here. Can you get into a paper? Just hand him like a few, like, yeah, like." Thank you very much. Just slowly slides back. Just like slithers back in a sense. Like, okay, that was awkward. No, I'm talking more like
a snake.
I'm not talking like bathroom stall. I'm talking like a like just literally like you go to like a restaurant or something, a single restroom you almost have to wait turns in.
Oh yeah.
And it's because sometimes for whatever reason I'm having we're like that the lock is fucked or whatever. So somebody walks in, I just oh shit, you know, you're tugging your shit. You have to like slam both hands against the door, you know.
Stay away! Stay away!
This is my time. This is my time.
You don't want to come in here. There's a monster in here.
You don't want to see my shame.
I'm like the Elephant Man in this position. Shame is everywhere.
No, I haven't had that happen yet here, but you know, I mean, that's still
that monster, and like, you know, say if he had to go use the shitter and he's sitting there and you bust in, it's like, holy fuck, what the hell is sitting on that? No, get away!
No, it's never a flattering thing that when seeing another dude sit on the toilet, it's never a flattering shot. Like, no, you know.
I don't think it is for anybody. I think it's always just one of those ones. It's like there's a reason there's a door on there.
Yeah.
Okay, old men shitting in public. Fear of shitting in public.
Gay jokes at the same time.
With old men.
We're on a fucking roll today, dude.
It just is. It's just, I don't know what it... I was helping out. I was helping Josh Bullock with like his, I guess you call it his grandma-in-law, like moving shit and whatnot the other day. And these people are like the literal definition of hoarders. I mean, to the point where they have so much I mean, like, I went over there initially to help move some stuff, and the whole garage was filled in their new house. I
Would
walked
Josh be okay with us?
inside their fucking like new farmhouse thing. The entire place was filled with boxes. There was like practically nowhere to walk, and there was all these other boxes that somehow, some way, were supposed to go into the same house. And then we go back to their original house, and there was tons more boxes in there.
I think the older you get, just the more shit you hold on to, in a sense of just, like, oh, the memories. Because I always know, like, most old people I know,
Have a lot.
whether they have their own storage unit or their own house, there always is this room, just maybe not a house, but this room of just, like, boxes and whatever.
It's everybody's
you know what I mean?
little mini Indiana Jones like ending.
Their own, like, yeah, it's their own, like, like Raiders of the Lost Ark warehouse at the end. Or I guess we find out the one thing shed some light on number 4 is that's actually Area 51.
Oh,
so I
yeah.
guess.
So everybody has their mini Area 51, I guess what they're saying, where they hide all their secrets.
Yeah.
Whether it be an attic or a basement or a shed.
Mm-hmm. There always is one of those things, so it's just kind of like, oh, well, I mean, because my grandparents, they always had one of those rooms. My aunt, I have an aunt and uncle that live in Atwater. They have a barn. And I see a lot of shit in there. I haven't been there like in 6 years, but I always see a lot of shit in there whenever I do go there. So, I think that it's maybe something older people do. I kind of think of the shit that kind of stacks up in my room after a while, and after a while I'm like, oh, well, I don't need this anymore. I don't need this brochure. I'm never going to use these coupons, whatever.
Well, yeah,
I kind of have like, I'm not using
like now that's I think everybody has junk to an extent that they don't need, but they can kind of use. This is where I think what differs from like the regular old person keeping stuff to like the hoarder almost. She literally had shit that was bought, never even opened, and then to top it off, multiple ones of it. She saved trash, almost, it seemed like. She had food that was expired like 4 or 5 years ago, never opened in the first place, and we were throwing it away, and all of a sudden she's like, oh, don't throw that away, guys, there's food in here, and she starts taking it out of the trash. It's just like, okay. Like that bad, where it's like, holy crap. And then she looks at us. She's like, if I ever have to move again, I'm just going to get rid of everything. And me and Josh just kind of look like, where are you going to move again to? You're already getting old. I mean, how many more moves you got left in you?
But you don't fucking say that.
No, you don't say that, but
good thing they probably don't have a computer. And if they do, it's probably Windows 98 computer, right?
Yeah, they have like a computer. It was like a Windows 98 one. We saw that when we moved there. Mm-hmm. No, they're very nice people, but it was just like, holy fuck, how do you just have so much shit? Like, I mean, to the point where, like, as I said, I think everybody has more crap than they need. We all know that's America, like, in general. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. There's very few of us that are smart enough to like not hold on to things and not to go like, oh, I like this calendar. It had a nice picture on it. I'm just gonna stick it away. Something weird like that. But there's that point where like you almost just have like a copious amount of crap that's just unnecessary. Like you'll never be able to use, nor do you have a place to put it, and you've already boxed 4 of them beforehand. But I think what I was getting around to is like, it sounds weird. We were talking about Star Fox, and Josh was like, he's like, I'd like to see like an R-rated one, a Star Fox. And at first he's like, it's like a rated X one. He's like, well, I don't mean rated X, because that just sounds like it's a porno or something like that. But it's just like
exists
something where it's like, just like, you're flying and whatnot, and Falco says something, so it's like, fuck off, Falco! We started at this point too, where they're like, we're talking about Slippy. It's like, what? Fox, we're playing Fox. It's like, what the fuck is Slippy? Is that a guy or a girl? He's like, I don't know. Fox is like, he's like, I thought it was a chick the whole time. I mean, we were in the locker room, and I was telling her nice tits. And she was like, thanks, Fox. Thanks, Fox. Are you mean to tell me that Slippy is a guy? And Falco's just kind of going like, yeah, dude, you didn't know that was a guy the whole time? He's like, I've been fucking that thing in the ass the whole time. I thought it was just a kinky bitch. I mean, I thought it was weird that, but come on, man. I mean, like, what? Is that why you guys just stood there and looked? I thought you guys were jealous. And just Peppy and Falco stand there like, dude, it's like, how long have we been flying for? You didn't know that was a guy? Does that sound like, it doesn't sound, doesn't even look like a guy.
Like, Get this guy off my tail! Like, oh shit, you're bringing back memories. No.
No, Slippy, no!
Get this guy off my tail, Fox. Get this guy off my tail.
I just started busting up laughing.
I'm going down, Fox. I'm going down. Slippy, no!
So it's like a weird moment too. Once again, because I think it's all tied around back to the shower room thing.
Yeah.
Instead of Star Fox, once again it's a bunch of dudes because there's like
He's
one female
like,
literally.
Before we had
game.
Crystal, he's like,
oh yeah.
Before we had Crystal, it's just the two of us and the robot. This fucking frog comes in, like, oh, fresh meat. It ain't pretty, but at least it's a chick. You're like, yeah, Fox, yeah, it's a chick. Just you telling yourself that, you know? why are you guys laughing? Like, oh no, it's a chick. It's another chick. Yeah, sure, it's a chick. Whatever, just go with that. Like, okay, you know, Fox is so stressed out. He can't jump on the little things. He can't notice. He doesn't see the little things. That's how busy he is.
Yeah, he's a leader of a fucking galactic team fighting off monkeys.
He's a fantastic pilot and a fantastic leader. Everywhere else in life, though, he's fucking hopeless. Why do you think things fell apart with Crystal? Exactly. He got too excited. We got one actual chick on this fucking rig, and he fucked it up there. He fucked it up. She's with Wolf now. Really,
with Star Fox 64, isn't there only like one female in it? It's like that Falco's like ex-girlfriend.
Cat.
Yeah, Cat.
Mm-hmm. Which how'd that happen? Because when did she like he's a bird, she's a cat. Wouldn't she fucking kill him?
Well, that's why they're not together anymore. It was a weird relationship. It was like that kind of one where it's like we don't tell anybody what's going on here. Plus, Falco, you're sort of kind of a racist. You're calling you always tell people how much you hate monkeys.
Oh, we had to take it there.
I didn't say. Well, I'm saying racist against monkeys. I'm not saying racist against anything else. But Falco, you're always going off about them.
Well, I think Star Fox is a very
my uncle's a monkey now. He's just like, how does that make any sense? You're a fucking cat and your uncle's a monkey.
Andrew Oikini was his like main rival because they all had their arch rival. It was almost kind of snapped together too perfectly because all right, who were their rivals? It was
Star Wars.
Wolf was Fox, Peppy was Pigma. Because he actually knew Pigma from the older team. Then we had Falco and Leo. No, Falco and Oikini. And then Leo, the frog, was Slippy.
Yeah, Slippy's. You know what
so they all have
kind of a cool Star Fox game to see is they'll make one about like Star Fox dad. Like a prequel.
James McCloud?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I thought it was kind of funny how they were just all like Fox, Slippy, Falco, just all these kind of like really silly names, just more like, or Cat. These things that are basically just like labels, you know?
Well, it's like they really don't have like they just have the name of what they are mostly.
Or a description. Then we have James. The one guy who has his shit together.
Has one regular names.
Yeah. So.
Because Falco, Falcon.
What was the
Peppy, I don't know what Peppy is with a rabbit, but.
Peppy sounds kind of like, I'm full of spry, I'm just kind of a peppy person.
Yeah, no, I'm Peppy. I'm like your happy uncle.
Peppy was one of my favorite ones. What was the general, the dog, like Captain Scruffy or something? I don't remember the dog's name.
Yeah, I don't remember the dog either.
General.
It's about time, Star Fox.
Of course, he's like a hound dog as the general. So, because they all have like I guess it's Wolf. I don't know what Oikini is, but it sounds whiny and annoying. Makes sense, Pigma, James is the only one with a real fucking name, and Andros has a villain's name.
Yeah,
so.
Andros.
Yeah.
But it's
I think you're setting your kid up
sweet game though is like just do a prequel where it's just like the only characters you sort of know. It's like you got Peppy and then James is in it, and then there's like maybe two other co-pilots.
Pigma.
Yeah, and then you see some other ones like Pigma and whatnot.
There is the ultimate betrayal where Pigma screws you over.
Yeah, Pigma would have to be the other co-pilot, and then he fucks you over.
Because wasn't he part of the original team? I thought Pigma was.
I can't remember. I want to say he might have been.
And then he went to Star Wolf, and then he got kicked out of Star Wolf for the 3 people out there who played Star Fox Assault. So.
Which was a damn good game. You know what? It might have had a couple parts where I'll say it probably wasn't nearly as polished as the 64 one, but it was still sweet and it added to a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it was still a good game,
Plus, you could do cool shit like you could jump out of your ship and then like be on like foot while you're standing on top of your ship flying, and then start firing a rocket launcher off and stuff. Come on, how cool is that?
Yeah, and actually try to do. I mean, look, it's not fucking Shakespeare, but expanded on the story and try to tell a better story. And it was good. I really enjoyed the game. What was the name? Tricky was the name of the fucking dinosaur. So yeah, they got all like these half-ass names. James. James is the one guy with the shit together. He's the badass, you know.
I know, exactly.
Give him his own game.
Give him the prequel one.
Maybe that's what they're working on now, because they implied they are working on their Star Fox.
I know, it's like they have that new Star Fox. They haven't heard anything else new about it. And I'll tell you this, like compared to every other game coming out, even there's a new Metal Gear Solid coming out, and I'm actually more interested in that Star Fox just because it's something we never get. We get Metal Gear Solids. We've been graced many a times with Metal Gear. You know what I mean? But Star Fox is something you just don't get every day. You don't even get that every console sometimes.
Well, at the end, are we not really sure? Is that the ghost or the spirit of like James McCloud that leaves you out of the fire, or is that?
Or has he just been a bad father and like hasn't been there? Like
he's like,
I've been off fucking hookers and doing blow
he's been
in
fucking
space.
space hookers.
I didn't want to come back, Fox. I thought I'd shame you. I wasn't a good father. I smoke a lot of cigarettes. I didn't want you to be around that.
Plus, you know, I was going to actually come back and join your team, but then you got slippy. I was like, oh, I fucked that thing before. I don't want to come back to me.
Yeah, the worst part, too, is
like father, like
I
son,
knew
right?
it was a man the whole time. I knew it, and I still did it.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug, as the great Rick James would put it.
Oh, my God. Make the prequel to Star Fox almost have, like, a 70's vibe to it. Like, they're all doing these missions and shit, but everybody's getting, like, hopped up every night. Yeah, like every time. That's just how it is. But they get shit done because it's 70's, you know. In the 70's, you can do a lot of drugs and drink a lot of beer and get so much shit done.
Space 70's is what it is. Okay, so they're all doing lines because it's almost kind of like Vanishing Point, where he's taking fuck tons of drugs, like to stay awake for hours.
That's what James is doing, and Peppy. Peppy too. He hits it harder than.
That's where he got his name.
Like, you know what? He was able to say no in the long run. That's how he became Peppy.
His name used to be Peter, but it went to Peppy after, like, you know, a couple of missions.
He like it's so Peppy after like
staying like awake for like 78 hours on like cocaine, you know, just doing lines up the dashboard of their R-wing, like fuck, and like punches like the side of the console. Oh, let's do this.
It's just got like a heavy metal like
you just punched.
Going.
You just punched out your radar. I don't need a radar. I got two set of eyes that work just fine.
No, literally give it like also a heavy metal vibe, like. So everything.
They're like blaring like Thin Lizzy.
Yeah.
Kill another buffalo as they're flying into battle, or the killing of the buffalo. That's what they're playing.
And they all take some shrooms while they're taking on these like flights too, just to like you gotta make space. You know that level, that secret level in Star Fox 64 where it's all colorful and whatnot. That like bonus one. You just see like Fox and Peppy just like split off like
LSD.
Yeah, something like that, and they just take it. They're just like, there's a secret place in space. Then see, it makes the best time ever.
They just go down like this warp hole. They drop some drugs. It just makes that. It's like basically like 2001: Space Odyssey. Almost kind of like a Pink Floyd video or something like that.
It's like you want to bring Star Fox back and make everybody like have to at least play it. Do that. Believe me, if somebody said like,
a lot of people just
did you like Star Fox 64? Yeah, who the fuck doesn't like Star Fox 64? Did you ever play any of the other Star Fox games? They made other Star Fox games? No, here you go. Here's a new one. Picture playing Star Fox, but everybody's like doing blow and killing people, and it's like the 70's in space.
They at some point, like, look, they can't spend times, even though like they go like have space battles for like, you know, hours upon hours, like days on end. Eventually, they have to stop and get some R&R. Where they stop. A bar, just drink more booze. At some point, they're fucking a hooker in the stall of the bathroom. You know, like that's when that's
how Star Fox gets born.
Yeah,
he's like, I'm sorry.
Fox's mom is some like space biker chick.
Yes, some space. And then she just drops him off on like a space fire station, like doorstep. And that's how he gets taken
I like
into
how
the
there's
military.
planets, but we just have like these stations in space.
Well, I just picture kind of like, like
in case there's a fire in space, there's a fire station.
like in Spaceballs, how there's like the diner is just in space. That's what I kind of picture them like flying into. Like they go and they land on just some floating like diner that happens to have like a back room motels and whatnot. So it's sort of like a trucker stop, I guess, in space.
No, at some point, oh shit, here's where it comes across. Like, some point, here's where it all begins. This is where it begins. He's like, just flat out fucking Fox's future mom or whatever. And then comes out of the bathroom stall. There's some chimp there. It's like, you're like, McCloud, you're fucking my woman. I don't like that, McCloud. I'm gonna shit. He just quickly, he does the Han Solo. He shoots first, pulls out, blows the monkey's head off, makes his way out there.
Mm-hmm.
Outside,
takes a cigarette out, throws in the monkey's like the hole in his head.
Walks out. Then he walks right back by. We see a young Andrew Oikonny sitting on the bar, sawing his father getting killed right in front of him. His brother took him to the bar because he was a shitty dad too. He just took him there, he's like, "Yep, this is where Daddy comes. This is where Daddy does his magic. Watch Daddy score." He's just like, "That's my woman right here, son." Gets his head blown off. He suddenly has this bitter hatred. He goes tells Uncle Andros. Andros just happens to be a scientist. Yeah. Builds up his arm from there.
Yeah, just has he's been planning anyways, and this is just the last straw.
Mm-hmm. And that's where he killed Andrew Oikonny's father. So
there we go. That gets our story started. Look, who the fuck would not want to play that? That right there, that's a game, man. That's like if Suda 51 was allowed to make fucking Star Fox.
Star Fox.
Fuck yeah, if Suda 51 and Quentin Tarantino teamed up, come on, Suda 51's teamed up with a bunch of other people. Let's put that together. Fuck.
Let's make this happen. Yeah. Suda, what you doing? What you got going on?
I know. I'll send him a message on Twitter.
You should do Star Fox.
You should do Star Fox. All right.
You got Quentin's number, right? I don't.
We got an initial script. Here you go. It's like, was this written on a napkin? No.
The plot outline was written on a napkin.
Sorry, I had to use it too.
The overall script was written on a piece of binder paper.
Here you go. Enjoy. Yeah. There's gold in that place.
Oh, I would love to get that. Just the dark, violent, gritty Star Fox.
Yeah, and just like, and then plus, it just the gameplay itself would just be amazing because it's Star Fox.
And he has this one redeeming moment. He's like, I created Andros. I gotta destroy Andros. Goes flying right into him at the very end.
Yeah, and then you just don't. You still don't know. You're still confused. You're like, did he make it? Did he not make it?
And then Peppy's like, by that point, he's just like,
he realizes he's got to stop doing drugs.
He has this guilt. He has this guilt. Before then, he's like, James, it's killing us. It's like, Peppy, my name's Peter, damn it. No, it's Peppy now.
Peppy, just keep taking the drugs, Peppy. It's okay. It'll go away. That's how Peppy was. He's like, I didn't really want to do drugs, but your dad always forced me to, because I always had kind of a problem killing and stuff, and then the drug just made it go away. It was like our Vietnam.
Our space nom.
That's really what this is becoming too. This is almost like Vietnam in space.
This is almost, it started off as almost a Quentin Tarantino style film. It's slowly becoming almost kind of like
Sam
Born on
Peckinpah.
July, or like Born on 4th of July with like Star Fox characters.
Except it's not like Peppy and like.
Why stop where James supposedly dies? Continue on with Peppy's story. He's like,
that'll be the next one. That'll be like
no, just have it be like a big long epic. Maybe it doesn't have to be a movie. Maybe it be like a miniseries. Like Peppy's going on like.
Game.
Oh, that could be that too. Yeah.
I just thought we were talking about the cutscenes in between the gameplay.
Well, that means we're gonna have to have levels where we're gonna have to have quick time events set in the bathroom stall. We're gonna have to have like shake the Wiimote or whatever, or we're gonna have to have at least some ground foot missions. I know people don't like that, but you have to quick draw, blow Andrew Oikonny's father's head off at some point. So we're gonna have that. So I'm all down for that. No, but why stop there? Next, you could have Peppy has like a 5-month bender, still like drugged out of his mind. He realizes like, there's a boy without a pa, and he needs someone right now, you know?
And then Peppy goes to raise fucking Fox.
Yeah.
That's what he does, and he takes him into the military. Because that's the thing, that's the best thing you can do with a boy that has nowhere else to go.
No, he does. No. Even though he hates the fuzz. He hates the fuzz. So he ain't gonna take him to the military. He's gonna train him himself. He's just like, look, I got the skills. I'm just gonna keep the booze and the pills away from you. You know.
So what they do, they go to a planet that's isolated, so that no matter what, he's like, this is the only way I can get off drugs is if there's no drugs around me, and I got a boy to raise.
Yeah. And Fox in some way kind of helps sober him up or something, you know?
Yeah, so like they go like, let's just say Fox, he's like 5 years old by now. And they live on this planet for fucking like 15 years, training and shit, like Yoda style.
It's like Enemy Mine, where he's almost training someone, he's like raising someone else's kid on this deserted planet for years.
Exactly. and then the call comes, Gray Fox flies in, he's like, Peppy, you are needed for duty again. And then they go up, and that's when Star Fox 1 starts. Or maybe there's some pre-missions before that, but...
Well, he's like, Rob, I don't go by that name anymore. I'm training the boy. Like, the boy can be part of the team, you know?
Peppy was always your code name. Peppy, Peter, you know that.
Peter Cottontail. I said I don't go by that name anymore!
It's Peppy, goddammit! Do a barrel roll, you fuck!
No, that's where it all comes from. He's like firing at Fox. Do a barrel roll! Fires the gun. Fox rolls.
Yeah, he's dodging it and shit.
Barrel roll is the key to life. Barrel roll will get you by in any situation. Your father helped me out like that too.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Just watching just the whole thing where it's just this gritty Star Fox world where like nothing's right. We seem to get the job done, but every day seems like we're one step closer to death.
I'm so down for that. And along this journey, you know, we can see like where other characters come from. We can see like maybe at some point when they go to this planet, Wolf is there, a young wolf. Mm-hmm. He's part of Peppy's tutelage, but he eventually goes off and meets Pigma, and starts up Star Wolf.
That could work. And then maybe you can even see like younger Falco and all other characters too.
Falco's kind of like the James Dean. He's not like really the gritty, dark, violent guy, but he is kind of the rebel without a cause, you know?
Like he's like part of like what, like a motorcycle gang or something like that? Like
motorcycle gang. He's not doing like he's getting into fights and all that. He's more of a,
he's weird. He's got like that kind of like...
He's more of a greaser.
Yeah, he's just greaser, but he's kind of like clean edge or whatever. Or straight edge.
Yeah, straight edge. He's straight edge, yeah.
Even though I'm not too sure if that's Christian
until Fox tells him, like, you know, straight edge is a Christian thing. He's like, oh, fuck, all right, no, I'm not straight edge. All right, yeah, let's just do it.
And he's just like, what's the only vice you got? I'm just a little bit racist. There's one thing I hate in life, and I just hate fucking monkeys.
Well, we're about to go kill a whole army of space monkeys.
Sign me up.
That might just control my beast. Y'all got a beast deep down. Your dad's was drugs. Yours is dealing with the loss of your father. Mine is my racism. And like, what about Slippy?
Sexuality.
Yeah, I don't know. No,
I'm not too sure if even Slippy knows what he is.
We can just take everything. We can just take
whatever the fuck it is.
We can just take whatever our things out. I think Slippy's fine being a punching bag. Fuck Slippy. Who cares?
I think everybody fucks Slippy at least once. The weird part too is Slippy's always asked us to come back.
Weird thing is Slippy doesn't even really care. He doesn't even really show any real joy or emotion about it. He's almost just kind of like a blank slate about it the whole time.
I think Slippy is just happy that somebody's there with it.
Yeah. Even if you like punch it in the face. I one time just pushed in the face to see what happened. He's like, ah! That's all that happened. That's the most I ever got out of it.
So I did it again.
And it made me feel better about myself.
Then I thought about a monkey for a second, and I punched it again.
Made it that much better. So if people always wonder why we keep this fuck up around our team, you know why.
Yeah, there's this
even
weird...
Even the robot took its turn with it.
Fuck, Gray Fox took its turn with it.
The Great Fox, the giant
shit, he just like landed on his lip, like, burp.
That thing's got an AI.
It knows what it's doing.
While you fuck it, it actually just makes a squeaky toy noise. That's how you know not to go in that room. Like, oh shit.
Oh god.
When Slippy's not inside of a spaceship, it just stands in a corner, just facing the wall. Not really sure. You see that movie Blair Witch Project? At the very end, it's kind of like that, just standing in the corner, facing the wall.
You're not too sure what it means, but you just don't get near it because you did see that Blair Witch Project movie, and you go, if there's one thing I learned about it, stay away from anybody who's in the fucking corner.
But then you take a few pills. This Peppy doesn't want you to know, but he has a few stashed away. It's the anniversary. He does it on the anniversary of James's death. Anyway, so just get enough courage, go in there. Yep. Next thing you know, you hear squeaky noises from the corner. Okay, don't go in that room.
On the death day of James Fox, Peppy always takes out a Quaalude and remembers him one last more time. And he takes a trip through that lost vector in space. Peppy, where you going? This is not for you, Fox. This is something I just gotta do. He gets just in the R wing, gets ready, looks over at a little picture of like James sitting there. It's like
puts in like a tape deck of Jim.
No,
Jim
an
Croce's
8-track.
I Got a Name. Puts in an 8-track of Jim Croce's I Got a Name.
Yes. It takes off. I gotta go through the secret portal again and take this Quaalude.
Oh God. Here's the thing. I know we don't have the ability to make a fucking video game.
Or though, even if we had the ability and we went to Nintendo, they would just go get the fuck out of here.
They would ever like
I see the shit. It is garbage. Oh.
I see the appeal. Now that we're kind of like really putting a lot of thought into it, I really do see the appeal of like fan fiction stuff. It just seems like that's so much work for not getting paid to fucking do it. No. You know, something about this
loses out on it. Just like, yeah, if I got paid just to do it, like that's all. I wasn't really gonna make a profit. I was just gonna get paid to sit down and like actually do it. Fuck, even if it was like a comic book, that's all it was.
Yeah. I would do it too. I'd so fucking do it. Yeah. I would make the dark and edgy, like, you know, what would you call it? Star Fox, darkness of space. I don't fucking know.
We've always learned title always mostly comes later in the run. Once you're about like halfway through a script, and you're like, oh fuck, I got it. Let me tell you. But till that point, it's like, we'll get there. Till then, it's just Star Fox Zero.
We go with that. Yeah.
That's a working title.
Speaking of that, did you by chance get rough transition here? Did you by chance get the new Batman Zero Year at all?
No, because I think I sent you that message or whatever. It was just like that dude. It's like, okay, I bought that the day it came out or whatever, fucking Tuesday on Amazon, and it's like it's almost been 2 weeks and it's still not here. And here's the worst part too, you know, because when you pay for free shipping or when you get the free shipping, I always kind of go, you really don't have any say in when it gets there because you cheapened out. But here's the thing. I paid for shipping. Now, yes, it was the same exact price as if I did get the free shipping from Amazon because it's one of those ones where, like, Amazon, it was $18, and then if you bought it from the seller, it was $14 and $4 to ship. And here's the thing. It's like, I looked at it and I was like, okay, it's coming from New Jersey, so I know that New Jersey ships to California pretty darn quick. Like, anything from New York technically ships faster than something from Arizona. Weird, but that's how it works. So I was like, okay, it should be here in about 4 days. I was almost expecting it to be here last week. Today, Saturday, fucking almost 2 weeks away, that book's still not here. And I'm generally one of those ones, like, I don't like to leave really bad, like, reviews on sellers, even if the thing kind of, like, took some time and whatnot, because I just know everybody's trying to make a business. I don't want to, like, fuck somebody's business up just because God knows what happened. You know, but at the same time, I've sold so much shit on eBay and Amazon before that I know how long it takes to ship. I know how everything in the shipping works, God damn it. And it does not take that long to ship a book, especially if it's coming from New Jersey. And I bought that one specifically because I wanted to make sure it's coming from a state that I knew would ship pretty fast. So that just means that person's, either they took too long to ship it off, because I think some people do that lazy thing where it's like, it almost says they shipped it like a day later, but then it's like, did they take it to the post office though?
I'll get to it. Like, no real rush kind of thing.
Like, once I get 10,000 other packages, then I'll go there or something like that. But so it's just one of those ones. It's like that's fucking bullshit. Like, there's no. It's not like there was a holiday or anything like that. No, was it? No, I take that back. There was a holiday though in between. But whatever. It was Christopher Columbus Day. That because I went there all excited on Monday.
That passed? Oh shit.
I'll be damned.
Oh yeah. Holidays.
I'll tell you this: the post office still celebrates Christopher Columbus Day.
A holiday that doesn't really fucking matter. Not saying the discovery of America isn't important. Just saying it. You know, we're no sense in celebrating a dude that just raped and pillaged a bunch of fucking people.
Showed up at the island and said like, "I need something to fuck."
While scratching his dick.
Yeah, meaning that, you know, some other kind.
You, brown boy. You know?
I've never fucked a brown thing before.
Let's see what this feels like.
Next, I'm going to go fuck that coconut tree. Never done that either. Coconut tree, that's a good name for it. That's what I'm going to name it. Coconut. Just like my nuts. That was always what...
My wife back home always said they taste like cocoa, so there we go. Coconut tree.
Well, actually, that was really the skipper who called it coconut, but, well, you know, what happens on the pirate boat stays on the pirate boat.
He died of malaria on the way over here anyway. Fuck him.
So, I'll name this tree after him. Just like, he starts rubbing the tree slowly. Just like
he whispers to it. Just like, coconut. Just like whispers to it, gets like inches away from the bark. Skippy.
I love you.
Captain Columbus, what are you doing? Nothing.
Nothing. Get the fuck away from me.
Go burn and rape pillages. Okay, yeah. But no, yeah, so having trouble with the packaging.
Christopher Columbus comes back every single year to haunt us by just take a day off.
That's his revenge.
Columbus
Spaniards' revenge.
And when Christopher Columbus passed away, he left the curse on the world that every bank and post office will be closed on his Monday every year. Or whatever day it happens on. I always feel like it happens on a Monday, but maybe it doesn't.
Like it's not like, oh, it's a holiday, so we can't go in there. It's just like you go into a post office, goes to Christopher Columbus, go away! Like, oh fuck, we can't work today. It's just even kind of like, you know, you'll go to like, you know, it's like he'll just hunch. They've tried to work on Christopher Columbus Day, but you'd be walking with a package. Ghost is like just falling behind him. Boo! Like, dude, knock it off. Like, slaps it out of their hand. Boo! Like, God, this is my
land. I raped and pillaged for it.
He only has power on the fucking like post offices for some reason. And they just, God, he's just such a dick. You know, they go over to like where everyone's like little inbox. As soon as they open up, all the letters fly out.
He just kind of reorganize that shit. Just pulling them all out, just throwing them over his shoulder.
Yeah. Reorganize this shit. Boo! Oh! Fucking Ghost of Christopher Columbus.
He just goes up, opens a package, opens like the plastic wrap, and then puts it back down just on everyone.
Yeah, it's not that they just, you know, people want the day off. It's just he just haunts post office. That's all it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's just better off you just don't go to work that day.
Yeah. Because if he's not there, if no one's there, his powers are useless. He just sits on the counter just waiting for someone to come in. Like, they'll be here.
I know it.
Oh, he's coming. Oh, they're just dropping it off in the blue box in front.
Oh, like Christopher Columbus can't reach into the blue box outside. Damn it, that's why they put him out there. They knew that I couldn't go outside the post office.
They caught on.
Fuck you, blue box, you fucking box.
He only has enough power just to come back for one day out of the year. But he can, like, go to any post office in the world. Or in the United States. In the U.S. You can go to other post offices around other parts of the world, but, you know, people, they're prepared for it. They're prepared for it. Get the fuck out of here, you know.
Okay,
they all got a little.
It only works if he like showed up there first for the white man. I don't know why. It's part of the curse. Maybe what happened is maybe like the natives put a curse on him, and that's how he can like haunt post offices forever.
Mm-hmm. Maybe that's what it is.
They're like, for all like the raping and pillaging you've done.
All the other post offices have just they're prepared. They have like, you know, Ghostbuster packs and all that just in case. They have like
just like
the red
just like Luigi's Mansion or something.
They just have one of the Ghostbuster packs, like break in case Christopher Columbus ghost.
And then,
Some guy walks
just
in.
in case his powers change, there's another one's like the Luigi's Mansion, like Poltergeist, like 3000 or whatever. And it's got a little flashlight in there too.
Some new guy walks in like, what the fuck is that? Look, well, the day it happens, we'll go over it. But until then, you don't got to worry about it. We haven't had to use it since '85. So,
yeah, we just realized this. In general, leave the post office alone.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, so in short, you did not get that book.
So I didn't get that book, and it's almost been 2 weeks, and I'm getting angry. And as I said, I don't really like to write bad messages, because I always kind of like, I guess it also comes from being a seller like myself. It's like, that shit happens every once in a while. But there is those kind of things too. It's like, you can tell this guy's not somebody who's just like selling a couple things out of his like garage. He's clearly got a business. He probably sold 10,000 units of whatever. So what I'm just picturing it's some lazy guy in New Jersey who's sitting there on all his fucking books, and he's like, I'll get to it when I get to it. I'm like,
he just has a couch made out of Batman Volume 5s.
He's like, I'll get up in a bit, then I'll ship it out at some point. I already got the money, so I guess it doesn't make a difference if it goes out or not. Oh. So it's just like, God damn it. But in that period, this is somewhat Batman related. Sort of. I went and saw that Dracula Untold movie, I think, last week when it came out.
Oh, I didn't even know that was out yet.
How was that? It was actually really good.
Is it PG-13 or R?
It's PG-13. But I will say it's one of those ones, if you watched it, it's one of those, it's like a borderline R. There's literally a part where he impales a guy, sticks the pole into the ground, and since it's like a vampire or whatever, or Dracula impales, let me rephrase this. Sticks the pole in the ground, just like he always does, and like, the vampire's sitting on top of the spear, and his whole body's just melting off, just like, oh, and just like till the skeleton shows up and whatnot. And it's like, oh, that's pretty violent for a PG-13 movie. Now, once again, it's like, well, they're not real people anymore, so we can. She's a vampire. I mean, who cares? Like, what?
It's not a white American.
I mean, it's like,
give a shit.
You step on vampires when you go outside, right? Yeah, who cares? They're not real people.
Like it's not a white American, so they don't give a shit.
Yeah, exactly. So, they're not even American whatsoever. They're from Transylvania. It's like half a person.
They have half souls.
But it was pretty sweet, It was kind of like, I think the cool thing is because I've never seen a Dracula movie so far. It's like you always read about that stuff, and you get to see History Channel things, but you never get to see kind of like, here's Dracula. Even though they could have gone into more. I think some people complained about that in reviews. I'm like, yeah, but you could tell it's a lower budget movie. It's like an hour and a half. That's mostly that's mostly when a movie's lower budget too. It's when it's not very long. But it's kind of like, he finishes that war where he's impaling everybody and whatnot just to protect Transylvania. So now he's kind of older and he's sitting down. And then next thing you know, the Turks come by and they're like, we want 1,000 boys from you for our army. Well, sort of for the army. We're going to do a lot of other things with these boys beforehand. And,
I like how anybody who wants children automatically is like, you got some boys. They got like a faint sort of twang, even if they are somewhere like in Eastern Europe.
So they're like that, and then the Dracula's like, fuck, I don't want to do that, and whatnot. And then at the very end, the guy, he goes to like talk to him and stuff, and the guy's like, oh yeah, I got one more request for you too. Remember how your father had to give up you to my father? I want you to give me your son, so I can fuck him all day long. Sorry, it doesn't say that part. But
I'm pretty sure he didn't.
But I'm pretty sure he did, if he would have got him. Why else would you get a bunch of like fucking like 8-year-old boys in your house if you're like an army man?
You probably wanted to like raise them to like be an army or something like that.
Well, you can do it from it first. You gotta. He's probably gonna have to break him in somehow. So whatever. So then it gets to the point where it's like he's almost gonna get rid of his boy, and then all of a sudden he's like, "Fuck that!" He takes a sword and starts killing everybody. So then this huge war starts between Transylvania and the Turks, and then so he decides he's like, "There's only one way I'm ever gonna be able to do this. There's this mountain up on top where like, apparently this vampire Satan thing lives. I have to go up there."
Is there like vampires or at least monsters and stuff before this, or is this
one guy that lives up in a cave, and somehow, some way, he can't leave this cave until somebody comes up and then like is worthy enough to give the power to him. So in a sense, he trades it off to Dracula, and then he gets the power, so he's able to like fight. He pretty much tells everybody, he's like, "Go hide in like my castle up north or whatever. I'll stay back. I got you covered." And there's one part this movie laughs so hard, like the castle's all getting destroyed. This when Dracula's turned to like vampire Dracula and stuff, and they're like, "Oh fuck, where is he? Where's Dracula at?" and whatnot. And then he kind of shows up. He's like, "Hold on, I'll take care of this for you." Like, "Thank fuck you got back here." And then he goes outside, and it's just literally this huge action scene where he's running through it, he's knocking people over and just killing all these armies. And then all of a sudden, all his other men finally run out, and they just look and go, "Look left, look right. The fuck just happened? Like, you were out here by yourself and you killed like 1,000+ guys?" He's like, "Oh yeah, just don't. Whatever you do, just don't question me on this."
I got my ways. Don't fucking worry about it.
Yeah.
You're safe, right?
Something just happened here, but you're gonna spend the rest of your life wondering what the fuck happened out here. But just don't worry
Just do
about
your best. Just bottle up those questions, leave them in the back of your skull, and just don't ever open that box again.
Anybody that questions me automatically becomes an ottoman for my feet after a long, sweaty hike. So like
the Ottoman clause.
But yeah, so it kind of goes through this whole battle and whatnot. And then the movie kind of ends in a way that it almost kind of brings it full circle to Bram Stoker's Dracula. And then who knows, if this movie makes money, maybe they will try to make like another one, because it's almost like it ends and it's like a modern day time period, which I don't know if they just kind of stole that from Castlevania Lords of Shadow that came out, recently, sort of. Because that game and that one, you become Dracula in it throughout the game. And then the game kind of goes like 1,000 years later, Dracula kind of passed out one night on his couch and then wakes up. And he just looks outside and is like, "Whoa, what the fuck built around my castle?" And first and foremost, I went, did nobody go like, "Hey, maybe we should go inside and see if there's anybody in that castle?" Or they just go, "You know what, fuck that castle. God knows what's in there. We'll just build around it, okay?" Just leave the castle there and just build around it. So in this one, that's kind of same thing happens. Like Dracula goes, takes a seat, passes out for fucking 600 years or whatever, and wakes up and he's like, "Well, what the fuck? I'm in modern times now." But then he talks to this one girl like he's out in town. It reminds me of that same part in a Bram Stoker's, which I think that's what it's supposed to be.
Is this
when Gary Oldman's out? I know it's not like that's my first reference. Bram Stoker's Dracula when Gary Oldman.
I know what you meant, but are we talking? Is this Castlevania or is this?
No. This is back in the Dracula Untold.
Okay.
And then he's in the future now, just like in Castlevania. And he's walking the streets, and then he runs to the girl, which now I'm drawing a blank on what her name is. But it's like
Mia?
Huh?
Mia?
It's not Mia. I think it's Marie or something like that.
I thought it was Mia or Maya or something.
Is that
the girl that he falls in love with? Keanu Reeves' wife. I'm using the movie too.
Yeah, I think that's it, but I didn't write down.
I think it's Mia. Sure, it's her friend who got like decapitated and fucked by a wolf. I don't remember her name, but yeah.
So yeah, there's kind of like that. It shows that, and that's almost kind of where it ends. And then it also has another twist where that guy that he got the powers from, he's like, "One of these days, someday in the future, I will call on you for a deed," or something like that. And he just kind of leaves off there. And then you see that guy, and he's just standing there like in a suit, looking like fucking Alfred Pennyworth, just looking at Dracula. And then the movie kind of ends. It's like, oh, it's setting it. I think that's setting it for like a modern day Bram Stoker's Dracula type story. Which I will say this, it sounds weird because sometimes modern day things are always kind of like, ooh, I think that actually might work if they did do that. I don't think we've seen the old one, 10 different times, so why not?
Yeah. Well, maybe you're also trying to do a thing where they're trying to sympathize with Dracula in a sense, because now we are trying to do a lot more of like sympathize with the bad guy. For instance, I can see him like, oh, he wasn't really a bad guy. He had to do what he had to do, and all the bad shit he did in Dracula, well, it was because this guy was making him do it. He was under his power or something. I can see him doing something.
This guy was just telling him, it's like Dracula's like, "Yo, I know what happens. That king, he's going to tell you he's going to train you for his army, but that's 10 years from now. There is a 10-year period where you don't want to know what he does to you, son. I was there."
He wants your boys.
He's going to play up those balls all night long.
He wants your boys.
So it's like, well, that movie, it's like Dracula's like the good guy the whole time, pretty much. There's nothing really. I mean, like, I guess you could say he's doing like acts that like he generally like. He knows that what he's doing is not good, and they even does the thing too. He's like the whole reason like I did the Impaler thing is like, here's what it was: you take an entire village and you kill them all and you put them up on spears and whatnot. People go like, "Holy fuck, I'm not gonna mess with this guy," and it prevents like other wars from happening. That's like how they explain it in that one.
No, I see what you mean. They're trying to make it.
Yeah, they're trying to make it like that. But overall, it was a pretty darn good movie. Like, I liked it quite a bit.
I'll have to check it out at some point. It was one of those movies. I think Interstellar comes out pretty soon, doesn't it?
I'd say either.
I kind of felt
I want to say
behind.
it came out in November, if I'm not mistaken.
Maybe it does.
But that's pretty soon still. Anyway, that's 2 weeks from now.
That one looks pretty good, Interstellar.
I know, that looks really good. Like, this Dracula Untold one, like, if you didn't see it in the theaters, it's not like you totally have to go see it in the theaters, but just at some point go check it out. Because it was pretty...
Last movie I saw in theaters was Tusk. I remember there was a time when I'd see like a movie every week in theaters. Now it's kind of like when I can, or if there's something I really want to see. But Tusk was the last one.
One thing that's kind of weird, but like Dracula Untold, this sounds weird. It felt sort of like a Spider-Man movie, too.
In what, like, we know what happened.
Okay, like when he gets his powers, it felt just like kind of like how Spider-Man does. Because at first he gets him, he's like he can hear everything, and then it kind of like shows kind of like different visions and whatnot, like almost like his spider sense is my Dracula sense is tingling.
Dracula sense is tingling.
And there's even a part in it where like his wife falls off a building and Dracula's like diving down like as fast as he can go, like in bat form and whatnot, to try to catch her. And then like literally as he catches her, she hits the ground, just like in the last Spider-Man movie. So it did kind of have like that to it, but it was pretty cool.
Do you think? Well, one of the things that kind of led this is probably a couple of things. I'm not trying to be this guy, but like demystified or anything. But if I had to guess, the reason this happened is because of Game of Thrones, which I think I haven't seen an episode of Game of Thrones, but I think the guy in it, he's like a Game of Thrones character or an actor, I should say.
Was that what the guy is? He looks like he could be Orlando Bloom's like older brother.
I think that's the guy they talk about because there's always that joke, you know nothing, Jon Snow, which I never seen an episode.
I just hear that and I just don't know what that means.
But I think that's
like I know nothing. I know nothing. So who the fuck is Jon Snow?
I think that's Jon Snow. So I don't know. And then there's I think plus ever since the whole like Twilight thing, vampires kind of came back. They're kind of slowly drifting away. They kind of came back, but then maybe this is another thing. Because for a while, there's always those projects they're talking about like, we're going to make this video game into a movie. We're going to make Castlevania. But then things kind of go up and down. Maybe at one point this was going to be Castlevania, and they changed at the last minute.
Well, or like maybe
this was a response. This was like a response to someone making Castlevania.
Well, I will say this is one of those ones like it could be a Castlevania movie. It literally could just lead into one. Like I even made a joke. I was like, I hope in the sequel they put Simon Belmont in it or something like that. But well, you know what this is though? It's a Universal Monster Movies one, and I think what they're trying to do is I think Universal's been trying this for like the last 10 years, really, because The Mummy did so good. So I think, or I guess 15 years by now. Jesus fucking Christ. But they always kind of want to sort of get their monster movies going again, and it worked with the Mummy. Mummy 2 worked
for a little while,
but then it's kind of like some of them like because Van Helsing's like either people love the fuck out of that movie or they really just don't like it at all. Yeah. And then they tried the Wolfman and it kind of came out and that was it. I never saw it. I'd like to see it just to see it, but and then they did Mummy 3, which great concept, but
not a great movie.
It should be an amazing movie. Brendan Fraser, Jet Li, mummies in fucking China.
Yeah. No, but yeah, that one felt pretty half-assed. But no, I heard a little while ago, and I think everybody's took a stab at this or is trying to take a stab at it since the Avengers. But I heard they're going to try and like build up like a Universal monster movie universe, and then try to like do one where they eventually leads into all of them coming together. I don't know if it's Save the World or what, but just a movie with all the Universal monsters together, these new rebooted versions of them. They already talked about doing a rebooted Mummy. So they got this Dracula that just came out. I didn't even think that. I didn't know this was a Universal movie. So who knows? That would be kind of interesting. I mean, what do they got? They got
Creature from the Black Lagoon, Frankenstein.
They got Invisible Man.
Mm-hmm. They got Dracula, obviously. Mummy.
Dracula. Wolfman. Another Wolfman, probably. They're not going to use Benicio del Toro Wolfman.
Yeah, and then there's a bunch of other ones I can't think of off the top of my head. Those are always like the big ones. They are talking about doing a Creature from the Black Lagoon remake. I see that every once in a while pop up. And that's.
But they always seem to kind of like all these remakes though. They always seem to be kind of like. I understand you want to try and make it different, but all right, Mummy was basically Indiana Jones, which was fine. Van Helsing, kind of Indiana Jones, more superhero-ish.
Well, what Van Helsing really is, when you really break it down,
it's a best of.
Well, it's Castlevania, because that's what Castlevania is. The original Castlevania games, it's like You think of those ones. The whole point of them is they just take all these like pretty much universal monster movies and throw them in together. You know, you got Mummy, Dracula, Frankenstein, Grim Reaper, all these different things in one, and that's kind of like what Van Helsing is. It's like I feel like that right there. I look at that. I mean, it's got the same fucking story as Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
But in the context of it being like a movie, they're trying like just style and like context and the vibe. I think they're trying to go with that one was a superhero movie, and then this one it seemed like they're trying to do. I mean, I didn't see the movie, but Dracula. It seems like they're trying to just do a big action movie that like seemed kind of safe for kids to go see to an extent, I guess.
Well, you know what I'd call it? I would call it something like this sounds like a weird one, but like a gladiator type movie, kind of like so pretty much a sword and sandals type movie. That's kind of what it's about, the sandals, where it's just guys of big battles, like Lord of the Rings. Actually, that's probably a better example.
All right, that makes sense. Or like Wolfman seemed like just like a straight up kind of I didn't see Wolfman,
like
but
I
guess
that, sort of.
Well, that one looked like it was trying to be like a very artistic, kind of serious one because you had a bunch of big actors in there. You had Hugo Weaving, you had Anthony Hopkins, you had Benicio del Toro, you had Emily Blunt, all these really big actors, and trying to be a very like I heard the movie wasn't that good, but I want to see it myself just out of curiosity.
Yeah, because I'm just a big fan of those.
It didn't look like it was trying to be all kind of like super stylish. It looked like it was like it's a remake with all these really big actors everyone likes. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, there's also Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. That's another one.
Which that had a quick part in Van Helsing.
Yeah, see, and once again, that's in Van Helsing. I really wish Van Helsing could continue on. I know that's one of those ones that, as I say, it was one of those movies that people either think that movie's really fucking amazing or they just don't like it at all. It goes both ways. I see it all the time.
I liked it. I mean, I didn't like it as much as you did, but I liked that movie.
Yeah,
I own that movie.
I think maybe reason I liked it so much, it goes once again, is like it just felt like that's as close as I'm gonna get to a Castlevania movie. Right there is like it is practically as Castlevania as fuck as you could possibly be without calling it Castlevania.
Though I did not like the.
If you would have gave fucking Hugh Jackman a whip, that would have been Castlevania like to a T.
He would have been Simon Belmont.
Yeah, he could have been Simon, or well, technically, there's the one that ties sort of in, even though it takes place after that. Like, what year does that Van Helsing movie take place? Because that takes place before Bram Stoker's Dracula.
I'm guessing somewhere in like the mid 1800s.
Yeah, because Bram Stoker, I want to say, is 1897 or something like that. And Van Helsing's old and Anthony Hopkins in that time. But yeah, it's such a great concept though. It's like okay, Van Helsing, he's sort of your superhero character in a sense, you could say. And he fights all these monsters across Europe. And that's like his fucking job. I mean, like, there's so many sequels you could make on that. Like, dude, you could have Van Helsing fighting like the creatures from the Black Lagoon and all sorts of other kind of stuff like that. He could fight you could tie him into a Mummy one because I mean it's directed by the same guy who did the Mummy 1 and 2.
I guess one thing you probably could do is you could actually, I mean, this is going to sound almost kind of like Pokemon or something, but I guess after he defeats them, they're part of his team.
He just takes a Pokeball.
That's how you.
Go!
Dun, 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 dun. Frankenstein
captures fucking Dracula. Like, no! And then goes do. Dracula was caught. Would you like to rename Dracula?
Butt biscuit.
Then he just laughs, puts it in his pocket. If you did a crossover Pokemon Van Helsing movie, I would fucking see that. Where instead, Van Helsing's just going across Europe capturing fucking different monsters in his Pokeballs.
As he's walking through like haunted woods here.
It sounds so weird. Okay, whenever I walk places, does that music play in your head sometimes when you're just walking like through like a path? Like
I was going through Golden Gate Park today.
Yeah, literally, like that. Like you're like, better not go in the tall grass. Wild hobo appears.
Exactly.
He looks startled. Grab a rock, you throw it at him. That made him angry.
No,
food. He started eating it. Looks left, looks right. Hobo ran away.
I actually been playing a break from Smash Brothers. I'm like, I have Pokemon Black. It's been a long time since I played it. Might as well just I bought this thing. I might as well see how much longer I can get into it. And I'm kind of getting into it again. And I gotta say though, being older now, I don't give a shit about the story, strictly in the sense of the gameplay. Really fun game. But I do find myself like just kind of like almost feel, even though they're like just computer generated characters, I can't help but feel a little bad because I'm kind of I'm doing a lot of grinding at the part I'm at, because I beat all the local trainers. So you're just kind of going out into the wild grass and fighting whatever comes your way. I'm literally reaching that point where I almost feel like that you could almost make something kind of like you're lying to yourself, like something appeared and attack, like, are you sure? Because I was kind of looking for it. And then all of a sudden they try and justify it, and then it's like, it used fake tears to like lower your defense, and like that's its last attack right before you kill it. It's trying to lower your defense by pretending to cry. Like it's down to 3% health. It's just like it screeched in pain to like scare you off. Like, I don't know if it's using screech to scare me off. I think it's using screech because it's about to die, and it realizes these are its final moments in its life. And I'm forcing its brother to kill it,
It's like, I need experience. Dude, one of the best things is in Pokemon X and Y. It's like when you capture a Pokemon, you still get fucking experience from it and stuff like that.
Oh, that's good.
That game, it's just like, there's just everything about that fucking X and Y is just so fucking amazing.
I enjoy Black. I don't really. It's one of those things. I think if this came out when I was like probably in the 5th or 6th grade, this probably would be my favorite thing, most favorite thing ever. But now I just can't help. It's one of those things. Like, I still enjoy it. I think strictly in the sense of a concept of the game, like the concept of, oh, these bad guys you run into. Like, let's strip the story entirely. Just talk about concept of the game. The concept of, oh, you're just walking through the woods and some bad guys attack you, but if you don't kill the bad guys, you can capture them. They're part of your team, and you can train them and make them however you want. That's a really amazing concept. I'm surprised they didn't use sooner for a game. Mm-hmm. So that alone is really kind of it's kind of come back to me. I remember why I liked that so much playing this game. It's one
of those ones, like, because Black was actually really amazing too, and I think that's when I recommended it to you, and then you got it. But
yeah,
like,
I got it.
I kid you not, that X and Y though, it, as I say, maybe discluding story, because the story once again it's similar to being kind of the other ones. It's a little bit more expansive, but not by much. But it almost takes you back to like playing Red and Blue again, because they just add so many of these features that you're just like, that is so fucking awesome. It just like it makes Pokemon just that much better.
There is like this, I'll say, there is a little bit of a, what's the word I'm looking for here? I do get kind of, like, I don't really give a shit for the story, because there's a part where I bumped into, because this one you have 2 rivals, and I will say, I will give it credit, I think it's kind of cool that your 2 rivals are actually friends, instead of some entitled, like, douchebag kid that kind of walks in,
look at my hair, I'm total douche.
Emo, just flappy, yeah. I'm kind of glad they actually. I think it's kind of interesting. You have 2 friends rather than just for your rivals, rather than just like some asshole you got to deal with. But there is a part though that I just like, I don't give a fuck. It's like you wander in like, daughter, you're coming home with me. I don't want you out here catching the Pokemon. It's like, Dad, I'm my own independent woman.
I'm 10 years old.
And then like he turns to you, like my character's name is Scab. He's like, Scab, I want you to look after my little girl. I was like, I wish there was really a problem, because everyone talks to you like, oh, that's so great, but your character just kind of stands there, says nothing. They always everyone wants to talk to this guy for some reason. I'm just kind of like, I really wish there was a response like, fuck you, don't bring me into your family problems.
That's what
I don't like this chick. She fucking follows me around.
Pokemon, they should do it fucking Mass Effect style, where you get to choose what you get to say. Like fucking Sonic the Hedgehog, like that like RPG one. I don't know what it is. When you could just be a total asshole if you want it. Pokemon's like would be the perfect game to go around the world being a total dick.
I would totally do that, yeah, in that game.
And you can still keep it like as an E game, just like, because lots of like the dickish things you can say are almost like they don't have to involve like fuck you, man. It could just be something like creative and clever.
What if you could? I wonder how many people do if you could actually, because you could change the name of your characters. What if you change the name of the attacks, like bitch slap or something like that?
That'd be awesome.
Right, you bitch slapped Onyx or whatever,
Oh, but before we go too far away from the movie monster thing, like I finished that Castlevania book that I talked about last time, and this right here is actually what amazed me, because I remember when I read online, I saw that instantly. I was like, oh, a Castlevania, like pretty much encyclopedia, like history book. I was like, oh, fucking buy, and then I saw like the description. And it was like, it said something like, oh, they used the Castlevania dungeon, for information. I was like, oh, that's fucking awesome. It's like, that's like my favorite website. Well, lo and behold, what it actually is, it's the guy that fucking made the website's the one who wrote the book.
Oh,
so to me, like, I'd probably not say there's as many other people, but like that Castlevania dungeon was like one of the first sites I found in like the 90s when I like discovered internet. You know, and that was when his site was pretty fresh. Like it must have only been around for like a year or two, if that even. And that's like it was one of those websites for years. I go back to it, you know, just like, oh, what's news on Castlevania, and like, you know, I learned all the fucking trivia and all this shit. You know, there was a bunch of websites like that back in the day. You know, and there's still cool ones like Metroid Recons like that. There was a Zelda one that I remember looking up back in the day. I don't remember what the name of it was, but that Castlevania dungeon made such an impact that lots of times all my computers that would be like the homepage for it for like ever. Mm-hmm. You know, so when I read that in the very beginning, it just was like, could this book get any better? And then as I finished the book, it's like, oh, it's just so fucking good. Because I think what makes it good is since it's not made by Konami, the guy can kind of go in and kind of write it like in more of a fun way, I guess you could say, you know, more of like a realistic, like, you know, like a human talking to you instead of just being kind of like, this has to be, you know, Mr. Konami has to be happy or else he will bitch slap somebody. You know,
he'll get Norman Reedus. He'll hire Norman Reedus.
He'll hire Norman Reedus and Patrick Stewart to like fucking like sound Keith Sutherland.
Keith Sutherland, yeah, 24.
But
you hire 24 to come in and kick your ass.
So it's like, I mean, like it literally it goes through every game, and then it goes through kind of like all the variations of each one. And then the other really cool thing too is it has all like the rip-off games in there too. That, you know, it's like this is pretty much like somebody wanted to make a Castlevania game, but here's what it is. They kind of like totally ripped it off. But it's, you know, that wouldn't be in the regular Konami one. You know, it's got action figures, it's got soundtracks, it's got comics, all just like the extra trivia and whatnot, and just the little things. There was even like fan-made games that were in there too. He mentioned some of those. It was like, that's just so fucking badass.
That's pretty awesome.
It was,
yeah. If you are a diehard Castlevania fan, that makes sense right there.
Oh yeah, it was just so cool. Just like mind blowing how good it was. You know, it's like, don't get me wrong, I like that Zelda and I like that Resident Evil one, but just
does he give you like an opinion or anything about like, oh, this one was good or this one was bad? Yeah,
he kind of does like a sort of thing on each game. It's sort of like a mix of like a review without saying like, you know, a number, but like, you know, he will kind of point out like what's good and what's bad in them. And then if some of the games are like not that great, it's like, you know, this is kind of like the weakest one of the Castlevania series and so on. Which once again, if it was a Konami book, wouldn't have that in it either. So I feel that kind of like,
if it was a Konami one, which one? If it was like an official Konami one, what would be the weakest one according to this guy?
The weakest one he said was either there's the Haunted Castle, which is like an arcade version of like Castlevania 1, which is just it doesn't control very smooth and it's like hard as fuck because like, you know, you're going along, you got a whip and it doesn't whip the same way that it does, and like I've never even beat that one. I only got like the first level and that was like, it was like, fuck this game's frustrating. It was like I think it's between that one and then the original Game Boy one, I think, was also another one he considered pretty low on the list.
Was there, how many Castlevania games were there for the 64?
There's 2.
2?
And it's the second one's sort of like, it's kind of like a remake of the first one with just more shit in it. Almost like a director's cut, you could say. Because like the first one, it's got like the main story, and this other one kind of adds like another character. Actually, it's 2 more characters. And then has a story that progresses before that one, into that one, and then I think a little bit later too. And then it's
kind of like a Street Fighter 2 Turbo kind of thing.
Sort of like that, just with more content than that. And those ones are really cool. And the cool thing about that is he praises those ones actually kind of highly. He says those are like the best of the 3D ones, which I'm like, oh, that's good. Because those ones are kind of like, some people think they're like amazing games, and then some people, for some reason, like, and I always thought this was weird back in the day, because those games kind of got some crap back in the day. And I used to always go like, well, what the fuck are you comparing it to? It's like, how many other 3D games are out in 1997? You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, it's like, it played better than mostly all the other ones. I mean, like, maybe the only thing you could say is like, it's not as good as Zelda. But even Zelda, I think, only came out a couple months prior to that game. Mm-hmm. So I always thought that was a weird one. That, like, I think just some people, I think they just more get the defensive thing, like, ooh, 3D, it scares me. It's like, I don't want my games to be like, you know, it's the fear of change.
Yeah.
Some people even say things about Zelda too. Like there's, you know, people are going, oh, it's just not gonna be the same in 3D, which is like, what are you, like stupid? It's like Zelda's like even better in 3D. I think that game translates better in the 3D than any other game, even Mario.
It's surprising how many naysayers there are against newer Zelda games. Even people I like and respect have like a really low opinion of a lot of like the newer 3D Zelda games, which really kind of surprises me. Yeah.
Well, Zelda's
Ego Raptor does not like Ocarina of Time.
Oh, I was thinking of like new Zeldas like Skyward Sword. I thought that's what you're talking about.
He didn't like that either.
That's so weird. It's like, because I think it's just one of those ones, a lot of people are becoming modern gamers and whatnot, and like Zelda's just kind of getting on the wayside. It's like, obviously there's still a billion fans out there that like Zelda a lot. Well, maybe not that many, but
the complaint I hear about, like, as far as new Zelda games go, is you get this item. This one item is the thing you use to open the door. And a lot of people say older Zelda, there was no explanation. You just kind of figured it out, you explored, and you figured it out as you went along, and they almost kind of like that. But at the same time, even though I understand that, it almost seems like you're kind of holding up standards of a game that came out a long time ago, and the series has changed a lot since then. I mean, you don't got to like it for that, but it doesn't really seem like you should have to like this thing that came out like 20 plus years ago. This is the one way it has to be. I mean, things kind of change after a while.
I still don't feel like Zelda really explains heavily like what you're supposed to do with this item. It's just you kind of know what to do with it. That's how I feel. Because Zelda still is one of those games where there's not a whole lot of dialogue. And the game never really holds your hand. You know, you still are kind of dropped into a world. I mean, not maybe, you know, obviously there's more dialogue than Zelda 1, but I think that's so weird, you know. I just know because most people like Skyward Sword is a game that a lot of people never played. It was just one of those ones like people just totally bypassed. And they're like, you know, what's the game that everybody's always the other Sky game that came out at the same time?
Skyrim.
Yeah, Skyrim was like, oh, I'm gonna go Skyrim. And that's like, okay.
Which, in all honesty, I never played Skyrim. I bet it's fun 'cause it's by the same guys who did Fallout. But I mean, in all honesty, it's such a biased thing. It's a video game. It's one of the things that I think can transcend any favorite type of genre. But I just never gave a shit. I don't really give a shit for like fantasy medieval stuff so much. I know. Zelda is like my one exception. And Zelda's not even, I mean, I really like Zelda. It's not my favorite thing, but I really like Zelda. I think it's a cool world and I like the characters. But Zelda itself seems more of like a
it's colorful and stuff. Where Skyrim
it's a lot more
bland.
It's a lot more colorful, and it has a lot more. I guess there's also some weird kind of like almost sometimes steampunkish fantasy aspects to it. And now Skyrim's obviously fantasy, and there's a lot of things customization. It's in its own world. And Lord of the Rings. I mean, I like Lord of the Rings. It's not a favorite thing, but I do like it, and it's just, you know, I'm not trying to put down all fantasy. It's just generally medieval stuff.
It's not your favorite genre. That's
I'm much more. Yeah. So, and
put a 70's theme in there. Maybe put some sci-fi into it, and give me a call, and I might be there.
Put a 70's theme, maybe some like old medieval cocaine. You know.
Well, I think this one. I will say that
have them doing like, you know, rails of like cocaine off like, you know, and off the ye old bar, get into like, you know, it's just basically like a Sam Peckinpah movie, and then, you know,
I think it's one of those ones. I will say if those Elder Scroll ones, if I will say that the main reason I probably don't play them is for how much people talk about them. There is always that one thing when a lot of people talk about stuff so heavily, it almost makes you just kind of build up this like, yeah, well, what's so good about that game? And I think my second bias came from that because everybody was like, "Oh, fuck Zelda." There's, you know, Skyrim's out. So right there I was just like, "Nope, fuck Skyrim. I'm not gonna play it. Fuck that. It has nothing to do with the game. The game is if you play the game, I bet you it's tons of fun. But still, it's sort of like it's kind of like almost like the Call of Duty thing. I know Call of Duty is a really good game, but then when I just hear people just go like, "All I play is Skyrim, Call of Duty, and Madden," and you're like, I don't know.
Yeah, I got Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, played it, really enjoyed it, thought it was a great game. Then another one came out, like, oh, I'll get to that eventually. Then another one came out out of nowhere. I'm like, oh, when this one? I can't.
Another one came out.
Which one. And then people are like, Call of Duty, Call of Duty, Call of Duty. I'm just like, after a while, I'm like, I don't feel the need to get it. You know, I'm sure they're great, fun games.
Yeah.
Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 was a fun game. But at the same time, though, I just hear it so much. I'm just kind of at the point like I don't need to get it. I got the point. I get the drill.
Well, there's something. It's like kind of like I do like getting a game and then going like, oh, nobody else that I know plays it that much, or you know, only my friends play it. You know, people that are like really into video games play it. You know, sometimes there's just some of those ones that's like. Yeah, it's kind of like, you know, it's just like that Skyrim. It just seems like that's the game that everybody plays. And I almost get that thing. It's like, well, if everybody plays it, then why do I need to play it? I should probably play something that, you know, less people are playing. Fuck, somebody else needs my money. Somebody else needs this money, not, you know. Fucking Suda51 needs some money.
Destiny seems like the one they're trying to make the next kind of like big franchise everyone's trying to play. Destiny was a game for whenever I get a PS4 or Xbox One, don't know which one I'm going to get, but whenever I get one of those. What?
You can get it for 360.
360 got the red ring again. Anyway.
Oh. End of story there. Well, here's the only thing about Destiny, though.
And I punched it. It didn't work. Last time my Xbox got the red ring, I punched it.
You went Falcon Punch!
I know I got no because I had a long day. I was really frustrated, and what happened is my 360's in a spot where it doesn't get a lot of air, so I went and got this fan and this special shelf just to put my 360 on a way to ventilate it so it wouldn't overheat. And then as soon as I do that, that's when it decides to get the red ring, and I was very frustrated, and I just punched the fucking thing and walked out of the room. I came back 4 minutes later, and it worked again for like 3 more months. But now it's back to the red ring. It hasn't showed any signs of changing, and it won't give me a copy of Dawn of the Dead back, the original one. So we'll see what happens.
Take it off now.
Yeah, but so we'll see what happens. I'll leave it alone for a few more months and see if it actually plays. But
well, the other thing about that Destiny game though is like this is where it lost me at.
It's all online.
Yeah, I was like, oh, you can't play it offline. It's like, oh, fuck that then.
Not to be this guy. It's like I do enjoy like a good multiplayer, but my whole experience to me isn't about multiplayer. I kind of like having a little bit more of a story and kind of like a defined thing. It is a little bit more of like a, just go on, meet up with your friends. Like, but what if you don't have any friends? I mean, that guy. But it's a little bit more, I'm just joking, but like it's more than anything, like, I like kind of, not to be this guy, I like it being a little bit more linear. Just throw me a story.
Yeah, give me a path. I'll clear it.
I like the option for multiplayer being there. I like to do it every so often. Just don't make that the main seller of the game. I want the game to kind of stand on its own as a single experience. So I don't have to rely on the web connection, or I don't have to rely on other people for the game to give me a challenge or be fun. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And that's where
maybe that's an outdated notion, but
I guess to me it's just one of the ones like I just kind of like to me when I think of video games, I like being kind of going like transported to this world. I don't want to be a social weird kind of thing unless I'm going to invite friends over to play multiplayer games. But it's like I want to be kind of like locked away from everybody else in this world. And by being there with everybody else, then it feels like I'm not like, it feels like I'm not playing a video game. It feels like I'm playing something else.
I get you.
It's kind of a weird thing, but like that's kind of how it is. It's like I like my adventure.
And the other thing about games that rely heavily, strictly on a multiplayer basis, I mean, eventually you put everything down and you kind of move on to something else, and you might go back to it. But I feel like a game, say like Destiny, Skyrim is just a big game. I don't know if that is. I don't know if that is.
I don't think that one's multiplayer. I mean, you maybe can play multiplayer on it, but I think
that's just
like it's really.
But say something like a game like, I don't know, Call of Duty, where they have like a very short campaign. That campaign's fun, but it's pretty short. They're mainly selling it to you for more maps and whatnot, for just go like play on multiplayer and online. Eventually people are going to stop playing that game, and the web server is going to stop, and eventually you're just going to have this disc here that you can just kind of go to this empty world and not play it at all. And that's so, and it's not going to support that forever. So I like having a game where at least it's a full game I can go on and play, and I'm not going strictly for online play or just to talk to strangers. You know what I'm saying?
For example, here's one. Remember that Star Wars Online game that came out like 10 years ago?
Yeah.
You can't go. There's no server for it, so you can't go and play it anymore.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, I think that's where you always gotta think about with online.
Maybe I'm asking for too much, but I guess if I buy something, I like the option of knowing 10 years from now, I can put it back in and play it.
Exactly.
And that's, and that's a thing with a lot of online games. Eventually servers just go out. So at least give me some form of just, single player. And I don't know if Destiny has that, but I heard 90% of it's all about online.
Well, I don't think you can play. I think you could probably play it by yourself, but you still have to be online. So it's like, oh. Well.
Yeah, and that's, well, and like it's all, I heard it's not really a story-based game. It's much more like, here's a mission, go kill this many guys. Good for you. Here's a special gun. You can rank and you can upgrade.
Well, I think it's that World of Warcraft style, and it's like, yeah, that just
it's like a MMO like first person shooter.
And to me, it just doesn't sound that appealing to me. It's like the shooter genre already is like not like my favorite of them all, and to top it off, it's like if it's gonna be like an MMO, it's like that's also another genre I just never had very much interest in either. So it's
what looked cool about it was I mean, it's not that first person shooters like scare me off, but it was a set in a sci-fi world. The characters look pretty cool. Mm-hmm. It doesn't look all totally shiny and sleek. It actually looks a little down and dirty, but still looks technologically interesting. The worlds look cool. The characters were doing more than just fire laser guns. They were like teleporting and doing magic and that kind of. So that was cool to me as well.
It's made by Halo people, so you know it's in good hands.
By Bungie. It's made by Bungie, so you know it's probably a solid thing. So that's all fine with me. It's just the fact that it's this game where I know eventually servers are going to stop running for it, and eventually you're not going to have a game. You're just going to, you're just paying for like, just this game that's eventually just not going to, 10 years from now probably won't have a server.
It's just not a worthwhile investment. Is what you're saying.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people say, well, how many comic books do you go back and read? Well, fair enough, but we all got our vices, and I guess. That if
but the thing is, you still have the option. You can read it no matter what.
I can, and even if I do get bored and dull enough, if it does get boring and dull enough to me, I can give it to somebody else who hasn't read it.
Yeah, so there's that. I don't know. It's just one of those ones. Like, just give me my single player adventure, and then I'm set to go. But I guess it's one of those ones. I'll say this. It's probably a damn good game, but it's just meant for other people, and that's just not necessarily my world.
That's how I felt. And when I saw the trailer, there was that trailer where they were using The Immigrant Song by Led Zeppelin, and it was live action. That was a really cool trailer. I'm like, I might have to get that game. Then I looked more into it, like, oh, it's all online. Oh, okay, whatever.
Yeah. What can you do?
Yeah.
Did you happen to see The Flash yet? See the second episode?
I saw the first. I saw the first like 20 minutes of the first episode. Then I kind of had somewhere I had to go. I liked what I saw. I got to see more of it. I saw the part when Weather Wizard goes in and like robs the bank. I saw by the time he went out to the Ferris airfield and was up to using the tracksuit. That's about as far as I got. I liked what I saw, but I got to see more of it. I did get Flash Volume 4 and read that, and that was really good.
Nice. Well, yeah, you got to check out that Flash show because I really do think, probably in the long run too, it might even be like the best of them all. I think Arrow, just because it has already a set kind of world built into it, it's pretty good. Where Flash only has 2 episodes so far, but yeah, it's like what's the character that can turn into multiple men, pretty much, of Flash? I remember what his name is. Like he can pretty
multiple
much be.
Men?
No, yeah, Multiple Man's a Marvel character though, but like the same powers where he just can multiply himself, but he's a Flash.
I know who you're talking about. It's not Mirror Master can do something like that. Not Mirror Master.
Mirror Master, like he
can do that. But it's like an illusion. Yeah.
This guy literally like would just turn into multiple people. He was like the villain in the second one, but I can't remember what the fucking guy's name was.
I know who you're talking about. I don't really know his name. I don't think he's one of the most popular villains. He's there, but he's not like Weather Wizard. He's not Trickster. He's not Captain Cold.
Well, they got Heatwave coming into it, Captain Cold coming into the show. A couple of.
Does
I want to say
Heatwave,
the Trickster was coming. They had him.
Is Heatwave? Is he like? Is he like have a thing built into him?
They haven't like had the episode of him yet though.
Oh, okay. Well, I wasn't sure if it was like they just imply all these characters.
Yeah, well, I think they had a screenshot I saw that had Heatwave and Captain Cold standing next to each other. It looked pretty good. It looked like Heatwave kind of had this like red mask thing on, and he had like pretty much like a flamethrower.
Okay, I was wondering if it was kind of like, because I like the way they make Heatwave look in the new 52, because I always thought Heatwave looked kind of boring. But the way he looks in the 52, how it looks like he has a furnace built into his chest. I think that looks really cool.
Yeah, he had like a red shirt on. I don't know if he had a furnace built, because it was kind of like a far away shot on a little screen, but
How'd Captain Cold look?
He looked pretty good. Like he was just kind of like it was just, once again, it was just a little picture. He wasn't like. I'm surprised they actually didn't deck him out in his colors, because it seems almost like in Flash they're letting everything kind of be a little bit more of the comic book looking than like other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully they'll just give him like a blue parka with like a. Really, if you gave Captain Cold like a blue parka thing with kind of like a hoodie and then just like maybe those like white goggles or something like that, or whatever the hell you want to give him. In the comics, it always looks like he's wearing like fucking visor so you can look at like a solar eclipse, but
yeah, I will say I guess would be irritated if he wasn't in there, if they changed his name. I just wish they kind of masked it a little better. Reverse Flash, I know for a fact he's in #1, or unless they're going to do some real play around with it, because Eddie Thawne, like Eobard Thawne or whatever, you know what I mean? So basically there's going to be, it's one of that twist is gone for me. So this cop is actually going to be his mother's killer, or at least linked to his mother's killer in some way. I only saw the first 20 minutes. I don't know if they leave.
You mean the
episode one
guy at Star Labs?
The detective. No, there's detective, the blonde, good-looking detective. His name is Eddie Thawne.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Reverse Flash's name is Eobard Thawne or something like that. So
Well, then the guy that's in Star Labs, that guy came back in time, and they play him off like he's now because other people have taken up the mantle of like the Reverse Flash, right? Like Professor Zoom is a different guy.
Professor Zoom and Reverse Flash.
So I think that Professor Zoom's probably the guy because I don't know what the guy's real name is.
Well, I want to say Professor Zoom. That was actually a Wally West villain, because I want to say Wally West had he had a friend.
Well, I thought Professor Zoom was the first like name that guy went by.
They might be mixing it up a little bit. I get them confused sometimes. And this is kind of going off of a synopsis I read. There's one that I don't know if he actually was moving fast. It seemed like he moved fast. He could just stop time because, and his eyes would change colors or something like that. That was one thing. He got like crippled. He was in a wheelchair. He couldn't go anywhere.
That's the guy who's in.
He wanted Barry to go back in time. Or he wanted Wally to go back in time and fix it, because at the same time his wife's father was killed like in a drug heist or something, and she left him. He was in a wheelchair, so he's like, my life is utter shit. Please go back and fix it. It's like, I can't fuck with the time stream. He's like, well, I'm gonna do it, and he made a deal with somebody, and he becomes Professor Zoom or something.
They have him right there in the first episode too, because that's exactly that guy. Because he's the guy who's the main leader of the Star Labs at the moment, and they even imply he came back from like 2048 or something like that.
Oh, so this dude, I want to say, came back way later in the future, but like somewhere in the 3000s. But I guess
probably for this, it's like the average Joe might not be able to handle any numbers that are farther than that.
Yeah, maybe not 3000. I remember because when Barry Allen apparently died, he didn't actually die. He just went in time, and that's where I want to say that Bart Allen is Kid Flash. Mm-hmm. The newest Kid Flash is his grandson or great grandson, something like that. Huh. So yeah,
because Flash was once like I have like the general knowledge, but I don't have like the knowledge like Batman or something like that.
I don't have Batman level knowledge. I have a general knowledge. I have a handful of Flash books and read up on some Flash, trying to fill in some of the blanks. There was I did read Return of Barry Allen, which you think Barry Allen came back from the dead, but what it really is it's Eobard Thawne taking the mantle of pretending to be Barry Allen. He got surgically changed to look like Barry Allen, and that's where he realized he says, I admired the Flash, and I always thought the Flash was awesome and amazing, and then I kind of went and went to his history and did this and that. When I somehow time traveled and realized that he becomes the Flash's arch nemesis. Like, no, I'm the arch nemesis of my rival. And he went crazy. And then that's where he says, like, all right, well, I'm going to start now. And then that's why he killed his mother. That's why he did all this shit that just ultimately fucked his life up.
Huh.
So, and that was, so that right there, that Barry Allen fought him. I get confused. Wally West fought him after that and sent him back. But, of course they always come back at some point.
Exactly. So. But it seems like this show, I bet you in the first season is going to have just a copious amount of characters. Because Arrow had quite a bit, and, Arrow was kind of like the test child.
My opinion is, when you already have something that already has, 20 to 40 years of history, why do you do, once in a while, fine, but why do you have, so many, the freak of the week is this made-up guy that you're supposed to like over the course of, you're supposed to like and feel bad for him, but then understand why he's evil for this one episode, never to be seen again. I understand that depending on the subject matter, but when you got something that's already been here for, 20 to 40 years, you already got a bunch of characters to pick and pull from. Why don't you just use those?
I think sometimes they get this thing, they're where they want to save the better character. In a sense, they didn't want to use something like Captain Cold, episode 1. So it's I think they do things kind of we're going to try to show off kind of Barry's story. So he's just going to need somebody to fight. So throw the weather wizard in there. You know what I mean? Because
the weather wizard's a big one, though. He's a big one.
I know. He's one of the main 6 ones. And then the multiple man guy, whatever, let's throw that guy in there and stuff like that. And then probably about halfway in the season, they'll probably get the Captain Cold. And, like Arrow, a lot of those characters come back, it's...
multiple man, I remember now, Group Riot or something like that. He, cut his limb off and then grow into a full person. Is that what we're talking about? Or is that a different guy?
Well, in the show, the way that they do it is the guy is pretty much the guy was into cloning, and then he was hit by the lightning bolt at the same time, so now he's able to clone his body into multiple forms or whatnot.
Yeah, yeah. I was thinking of one other guy, but now I'm thinking about the villain they used in Flash Volume 1 for the New 52, which is probably just a reboot of that guy. But I was thinking of someone else. Maybe that's just a reboot of that guy, though. I think something Riot or Group Riot or I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like I tried to look it up and I couldn't find it. Like I was flipping through all the Flash guys online. I was like, no.
Maybe not. But I mean, like, because like Smallville, for so many years, they were just using kind of like, here's like a guy that Clark goes to high school with who got kryptonite and now he has lightning, and it was just seems like after a while, it's like, all right, how many years are you guys just gonna have some like random ass pissy whiny kid who suddenly gets powers somehow? And eventually they did start pulling actual villains, which was good.
Well, I think Smallville has like a lot of mistakes that Arrow and Flash and all these ones haven't really made, because I think that
here's the thing, like Smallville, it was actually, it's not even that it's like that great of a show. What happens is it's a couple of things for me. It was nostalgia because I grew up watching it. Like eventually it's going to get to it, but then even if it does have its problems, you watch it enough, you get hooked.
Yeah.
Luckily enough, while I got hooked, it eventually got better in the later seasons. People say that the longer a show goes on, the shittier it's going to get. Well, later they got different producers.
Mostly the exact opposite.
That's what a lot of people think, though. Longer a show goes on, it gets worse. And this is one where it's like, well, the longer it went on, they realized they just bring in more characters from DC, and that's where the show got better.
By that notion, people would think that Batman should have only ran for 2 years as a comic book and then stopped. Mm-hmm. Now, we all know that Batman just gets better as it goes on, mostly.
Yeah, generally.
So it's like, I always think that's such a weird thing where people, like, they're like, oh, I fucking hate sequels. Like, they do have movies, too, like, oh, Star Wars Episode 7, are you fucking kidding me? It's like, the other three were almost too much as is, and it's like, dude, you can make Star Wars movies forever. It's such a big universe, there's so much shit to tell.
Yeah.
And it's so weird. People get like that, though. They just kind of go, oh, another sequel, and it's just like, if I like something, I want to see more. Why not?
I understand. To an extent, I understand that mindset. But another part of me is like, well, let's give it a chance to see where it goes first. Let's not just jump on its ass right away. Let's see how it pans out. Because that's kind of the thing that annoys me. Like right when Batman Begins came out, there's so many people kind of like, ugh, another Batman. And some people had that idea. It's like, look, I know that, man, I know you like it, but like, I know that we weren't all the biggest fans of like Batman and Robin, but let's just give it a chance, trying something different. Like, why? It's just another Batman, a dude in a suit, punching criminals. What's the big deal? And then those same people are like, oh my God, Dark Knight was fucking amazing. It's like, you just got to give it a chance.
Yeah, well, that too. It's just a weird thing that people. I think something about the average Joe just doesn't like sequels, or at least doesn't like multiple sequels. Like they'll take 1 or 2 sequels, but like mostly more than 3 is too much.
Mm-hmm.
I
think that a lot of people don't like just follow it closely. They just think it's another one, because there's surprising how many people were kind of like, oh wait, but wasn't Jack Nicholson the Joker? Well, I thought Batman Begins was a prequel. What's happening here?
Yeah.
For some reason, the confused person can't finish a sentence. I don't know why, but anyway, and everything's a question. I remember
when I first saw Batman Begins, I was like, oh, that must be a prequel when I saw the ending, because it was like, that was before the notion that like they rebooted movies, because nothing was really, like, at that time period, I can't think of anything that was really rebooted. Because you were used to series like 007 that went on just kept going on. And even if they kind of changed along the way, like some things, it's just like, well, that's just kind of how it went.
Well, I thought it was a prequel up until where Thomas and Martha Wayne died, because I remember that's different from the way they died in the movie. I'm like, well, maybe they just changed that just for this movie.
That's what I thought. I just thought they just changed it for the movie, just like, oh, they probably just wanted to fix it there and do some things there. But I just thought, in general, that was just a prequel to the first one.
And then once they actually brought in, like, calls himself, Jesus, like, he left a calling card. Like, all right, well, now I know. Well, actually, once Joe Chill died, once you saw it was Joe Chill getting killed, because they made a point that Joker was his parents' killer. Once you saw that he died in the courtroom, that's where I was like, okay, this is not a prequel, because they made a point that Joker was his parents' killer. So
yeah. But I think it was just one of those ones. I think just the notion just wasn't even there, so it's just like, oh, I guess they're just changing it then. Because as I said, like, what the fuck was like? They didn't really even do.
That was the first big reboot, I think.
Yeah,
there may have been other ones.
Yeah, there probably was like small movies that had been rebooted, and obviously there was, remakes. Even remakes were so rare at that time too.
Mm-hmm.
There's very few things that were rebooted until like the 2000s.
Yeah. So I think a lot of people were automatically kind of like, that's how a lot of people were about Superman when that was coming out, Man of Steel. But then I think once they actually saw the trailer and saw, oh shit, he's actually punching people, I think that's what actually kind of like turned a lot of heads. Like, all right, maybe we'll give this thing a shot after all.
Well, people that a lot of times aren't like comic books fans, they're always like, oh, Superman, that character's just stupid. He's just like all powerful and stuff. And it's just kind of like, have you ever read a Superman comic book? Have you ever really watched Superman? Like, if he's not like just pure powerful, that's not all he is. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. There's obstacles and stuff. It's kind of like the one thing too. I always say it's like it goes with like Robin. It's like whenever anybody talks crap on Robin, it's always like my indication that you're clearly not a real Batman fan. You may think you are, but I only say the only true Batman fans like Robin, and that's the bottom line.
My thing is just we don't really have it as much as we used to, but you still get a little bit of this condescending nature of someone who will wear like a Batman shirt, and then you make some reference, they actually read the comics, and they get like, you actually read the comics? It's like, well, all that shit that was in the Dark Knight movies, where do you think they fucking pulled it from?
Yeah, their ass. Yeah, that's what I do. When I have an idea, it comes from my ass. You're like, what the fuck? Well, it's like those ones. I remember seeing like a family that they all had Batman stuff on. I was wearing a Nightwing t-shirt. And then I think I leaned over to Arjun, like, they didn't say anything. They didn't even notice I was wearing this. They're not fucking true Batman fans. I don't mean that like a jerk way. It was more like in a funny way, but still at the same time.
I'm not even trying to like make this sound like it's an elitist thing. Like, you've got to read or like the comics. But it just annoys me when people have a condescending like attitude towards it, and yet it's something they're not willing to give a shot. It's like, oh, it's okay to like it over here. Because there's like literally one time where it was like, this is back when I was working at the restaurant. I was literally talking to somebody, and this is actually kind of a little bit of a funny story, a brief one, but there's like somebody, a friend of mine, their girlfriend at the time said, oh, I got this Batman dining set you can have. I'm not going to use it. I'm like, oh, thank you so much. When you said a Batman dining set, I assumed, okay, a plate with a bat symbol on it, maybe a glass with a bat symbol or something like that.
Like
that's what I assumed.
Fork and knife.
No, yeah, it was literally like a children's tray with like, little like, it's actually really thoughtful.
So like
dividers, so I don't spill my tater tots into my applesauce, and so I don't spill my macaroni and cheese into my
peas.
Chicken wedges, and also a sippy cup with Joker and Batman on one side, and then like a fork cut sharp enough to cut through Jello, but not to cut my hand. So it was very. Yeah. Either way, so that it's for my own protection, So, and I was like, thank you. I was nice about it, but it wasn't like a joke, like, oh yeah, like you like Batman. He's just like, oh, Ryan likes Batman. Here's his dining set. I'm like, are you fucking serious? I didn't say that, but I was like, oh well, thank you for the cons. Okay, then I just gave it to my nephew. I was like, all right. And I was telling this to a friend of mine, to James, who's been on the podcast before. And somebody who worked there, I mean, this chick was cool, but she did have a little bit of this like condescending attitude regarding certain things. And I was telling the story. I'm like, I mean, come on. I'm a Batman fan. Why would you do this? I was like, she said, well, Batman is primarily aimed at children.
Yeah, and when you get that, you're like, that's where you just like bitch slap her, and you're like, you fucking.
And I said, okay, let me go over something real quick. And I kept my cool. I didn't do that, but I kept my cool. And I said, okay, let's hold up. Everybody in this room who saw Dark Knight and liked it, raise your hand. And everyone's just like, no, raise your hand if you like Dark Knight, and just kind of hammer, whatever, what's your point? Like, that came from somewhere. That did not come from a Saturday morning cartoon. That came from a book. And that book is that, that did not just pull it out of its ass. You can't, that right there, it almost seems kind of like, I'm going to enjoy it, but I'm going to also judge it at the same time. It's like getting a blowjob from a chick and then calling her a slut afterwards. It's kind of like, you can't fucking do that. You can't really, it's like, you can't talk shit on, where do you think it came from? It all came from a certain spot. And yeah, there is kidified versions of it, but that is not solely what it is. So, and that attitude just annoys me so much. So whenever I talk about like, oh, they're not a real Batman fan, that ain't me trying to be like, oh, you're elitist, you can't name off all these obscure characters. That's me just saying like, don't be a judgmental prick about
what other people
one version of it. About one version of it, but say, oh, this version over here that's live action, it's totally fine because it's in live action. That's what I know.
Yeah, it's just that there's that safe environment. Well, then there's that, and there's also the thing too. It kind of, this has always just bothered me in life that you see signs when people have those Batman shirts on and stuff, and it's like, okay, like they might like Batman, but like I hopefully hope they're just not wearing it because they're trendy. Like that's the thing. It's like just because this is what my friends are wearing, so I want to be cool too. You know,
That's a really kind
I
of
saw Dark
slippery
Knight. I didn't see Batman Begins or Dark Knight Rises, and I kind of fell asleep halfway through Dark Knight. So, but I don't want my friends to think any less of me. And it's like when you see people like that, it's just like I don't know. It seems weird. I'll say this. It seems weird. Now we all know people wear just random ass shirts. Now if you're old, I think that's different because old people just wear whatever is sitting around. That's why it's funny whenever you see like an old person wearing like skater clothes or something like that, just because like their kids stopped wearing them. They're like, oh, well, it's a good enough T-shirt for me.
Yeah.
But like it's just one of those ones. Like to me, it seems weird to wear a Batman shirt, but not really be into Batman. You know what I mean? And that goes with a lot of other things too. It's just like, I mean, would you go out and wear a band T-shirt of a band? You're like, I heard one song of them. It was okay.
No,
yeah, that seems fucking weird. You know what I mean? It's like, would you wear a Game of Thrones T-shirt if you only watched one episode?
No.
And that's kind of the equivalent of just watching like a movie of Batman and then just wearing a T-shirt from it.
Well, at the same time, I mean, it's one of those things. If someone does, I don't really care. It doesn't really bother me. I think the idea where that kind of comes from or gets annoying for some people. I'm not saying I agree with this logic, but I kind of understand where it comes from. I guess the thing is, you got people who suddenly it's okay to like all this comic book stuff and all the superhero stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Guardians of the Galaxy, a comic that even a lot of comic book fans don't really know that much about, is huge and like nearly everybody likes it.
Exactly.
Right? So now it's okay for people to wear just a Batman shirt or like a Green Lantern shirt or whatever. Now I think that some people, not all people, but I think a lot of people who kind of grew up being kind of judged about it is somewhat resentful about that, because before it was kind of like, all right, I actually, not trying to make it seem like there's some like Great Depression, like the things white people saw, the things we had to go through, not trying to compare it to that.
But there was a time period where it was almost like a badge of honor that you were wearing. It was almost like, it was a little bit more. It was like wearing that sign in fucking Die Hard 3 and walking out into New York.
I don't know if that's a badge of honor.
I guess not a badge of honor. Let's just say that you're putting something on that everybody was going to ridicule you for, and you knew that you're walking into danger, but you did it anyways.
I'm not sure if the sign in Die Hard 3 is a badge of honor. I
guess not like a badge of honor, but I mean, like, it took fucking balls for you to go out and wear that, like, All
right, let's go. Here's a little bit more of an obscure one. When Leo DiCaprio, after he gets his ass kicked in Gangs of New York, goes and puts the dead rabbit on, like, the town square where Bill the Butcher can see. So it's like, we're still here, motherfucker. There you go.
I guess. I don't think that works nearly as well as the other one, but because the other one, I'm more just saying it's like, you just know that you're just gonna piss people off.
Because it's like hide. That was kind of like those things like dead rabbits are gone, hide, don't come back, don't show yourself, and he comes out and says, we're still fucking here.
Well, I more mean it's like what back in the day you threw a superhero T-shirt on. It was literally like throwing on that sign in Die Hard where you're gonna walk into an area where everybody's gonna be like, what the fuck is that guy wearing? Why is he wearing that? He's different than us. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not talking about the racistness of like the sign. I'm just talking about like the fact that you're going to create a reaction.
Well, yeah, like it was kind of I remember I did have a Star Wars shirt one time, and we went to school in this little redneck town. And I remember I got so much shit this one day for wearing a Star Wars shirt. Yet these guys,
sadly enough, if you wore the sign from Die Hard 3, everybody would probably like, "Oh, come over here, Ryan! You're cool." That's the sad truth about that.
That's the sad truth of that town. That's a lot of the people in that school. But the same guys though were talking about going to see X-Men and playing X-Men the fighting game. And for some reason, I'm the dumbass for wearing a shirt, and one literally said like, "Yeah, well, well, you're talking about X-Men the other day." Like, yeah, well, that's different. I'm not wearing a fucking T-shirt. I'm not fucking obsessed about it. And I guess right there, some people get this immediate kind of when they see like the pretty popular girl wearing like a Batman shirt or a Superman shirt. I guess I don't think it really matters so much, because I guess in some way it kind of shows, well, it's kind of come a long way. I guess that people can expect. I mean, you can't really jump on someone's balls right when you see that. Maybe they do like it. They just don't like it as much as you.
No, but
maybe they like the movies. Maybe they like what the character represents. But I don't support it. But I do kind of, to a sense, understand where some of that comes from. I'm not saying hostility. You don't like. I'm not saying. Oh, you like it, but not as much as me. Fuck you. Lock the gates. You can't come in. I'm not saying that. I just think a lot of people have a little bit of this, like, all right, I got so much shit for this back when I was like just not even like that long ago, like probably like 10 years ago.
Yeah, literally, it's probably even less than that. I mean, like 5 years ago, I think it was still probably an issue, if not a little bit longer than that. Maybe seven. Maybe it has been a little bit longer, but it wasn't that long ago that there was a time period where like there was no way that you'd be judged harshly if you wore it. Let's just say that.
Or if you were reading a comic book in public or something like that. So now it's like, I guess now that it's one of those things like when you see someone doing that, when you see someone like that has that, that person's probably never picked up a comic book in your life. I don't get angry because I was like, okay, well, I guess that just means it's more socially acceptable and this thing's moved and it's a little bit more credited now. I don't really care if this person likes it that much or not. But I guess for someone who uses this thing as like a badge of honor or as like a thing like, well, this identifies me because not that many people know about it, not that many people like Green Lantern, not that many people know about Green Lantern. So when you see someone who's like, oh, Green Lantern, T-shirt, that's cool, I like Green Lantern.
Yeah, I guess you see that, you kind of go like, what the hell?
I don't support that train of thought, but at the same time, I see where it comes from, and it's kind of like, well, that person can wear whatever the fuck they want.
Well, yeah, we live in America. They can make whatever decision they want.
It doesn't devalue the source material. It's just like, if they like it, that's cool. If they don't like it, whatever. $14 went into DC's pocket.
Yeah, exactly. You can always kind of say it like that, and that's definitely true. There is just that. Yeah, I guess there is just that. There's just that I think it's just an old-fashioned mentality of just like. It probably goes with like any other kind of groups, organizations, like there was a time when we had to really earn that. And then you get to the future generation where they're just like freely just sporting and like don't really know anything about it. Probably the same thing happened like when all like the hippie stuff kind of came back into play, like in like the early 2000s, like bell bottoms and people wearing like peace t-shirts and all that stuff. And it's almost probably a lot of adults are going, you don't even know what the word peace means. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
There's probably that same mentality there, and I guess it's also kind of equivalent of like, sort of like sporting, like, military people probably see this too, where they see somebody like trendy walking around with like a military vest on and whatnot, and they go, you weren't even in a fucking war, why do you think you even deserve to wear that? So I think there's sort of things like that, and I think that's where it kind of comes from. Once again, the person's like, yeah, well, I had $15, it was for sale, I bought it. America, fuck you. So like no matter what, you can always kind of, when you're in America, it's always a person's decision. No matter whether it's good, bad, or stupid, it's America, But there is, at the same time, I do understand like the other side of like you just watch it and you kind of go, that's how I can see it. I see it like almost like I see it like a war vet, looking like there was a time we wore that, it meant something. You know what I mean? And just for you to pick it up and wear it without any meaning, what does that mean? You tell me, what does it mean? I couldn't wear a Batman shirt without getting called a faggot. Now they can wear them freely and they don't even care, But it was one of those things like, no. I mean, I understand where maybe some of that frustration comes from, but at the same time, it doesn't really matter. Even if this person doesn't give a shit about it, at least in some way they're supporting this thing that for a long time was looked down upon. Yeah.
So, and that just means that like, all right, well, if this, person who doesn't give a shit is saying it's okay to wear it, whether they're cool or not, it's just, all right, whatever. That's just a few more bucks that goes into DC's pocket, supports it. And I guess the one thing you got to kind of worry about is it gets oversaturation. But at the same time, I think comics have reached this point to where eventually all this nerd shit that's kind of popular right now, it's going to drizzle down, but it's going to come back.
Well, yeah, because everything's in waves, where it's kind of like, it's the in thing right now. It's the trendy thing for the last handful of years. It's just been like, for people to go like, oh, I'm so nerdy today. Like, that's the new thing. There's a time period where everybody wanted to be black. There's a time period where everybody wanted to be gay. Now everybody wants to be nerdy. It goes in waves. We'll get back to a point where everybody wants to be preppy again, where everybody wants to be like shit-kicking rednecks again.
Well, now we also, at the same time, we kind of make it out to be like, okay, this is the age of the emo. This is the age of the wannabe black guy. It's not really even that now, no more. I mean, maybe it never really was.
Times, the wannabe black guy in the late 90s. It's probably all due to Michael Jordan when you really break it down, because everybody wanted to be Michael Jordan.
Shaq.
Yeah, Shaq. It's just like Good Burger. Will Smith. There was a time period where, like, when I remember being a kid in school. If you didn't wear baggy pants, you were the ridiculed one. You were the ones like if you had just a pair of pants on that was regular, people would be like, dude, why are you wearing regular pants? Like, get some fucking baggy ones. And then you go out and you get the baggy pants. You're like, I don't want to be made fun of, Mom.
Big Willie style, you get it, right?
Yeah. And then sometimes you'd go too far where you're like, I gotta out top him. I'll get the baggiest pants of all. Then nobody will make fun of me.
I never looked good like the wannabe. I never looked good with that art, with that whole like
I
style.
never had that, like, no matter what, I didn't look like
Never
like
looked
one
good.
look.
I never tried
I just
it.
made sure I didn't get like regular pants. I was just like, I'll get them like I'll buy the loose ones, you know, because you buy the jeans and it's like regular fit, loose. At this period in time, they didn't have skinny or anything, because that's like a very modern thing.
When I was younger, during that age, I was basically socially inept, and I kind of really didn't really learn from my mistakes. I didn't really try blending in, so I just kept on doing what I was doing, and it didn't really help. But at the same time, I really don't think it probably would have made a difference, because I would have been dressed like someone I fucking hate anyway. So
yeah.
Not to say I hate Will Smith or Michael Jordan or any of that shit, or like
it's the people that dress like him but like don't represent.
I always think even friends of mine who kind of like not many of them do, but when they have like their pants held low to the point where their ass is literally hanging out of their jeans, that looks so. I don't care who you are. To me, where it's the point where your boxers are hanging out of your jeans, you literally see your ass. That looks so fucking stupid to me, because maybe what I've heard and what I've read on is wrong, but that comes from the whole thing with your ass hanging out. That comes from you're the prison bitch. He has his pants low. You belong to someone. You're the prison bitch. That's where that came from. I don't know why that's fucking popular.
It's literally been popular for 20 years. I mean, like the late 90s is when that started, and like even though like clothes got tighter, for some reason the pants never went back up.
Yeah, I don't know why that's popular. That's where that came from. Like, yo, man, you know what this means? It means I take it up the ass and I get punched in the back of the fucking head when they done. Well, and he calls me a bitch. He's like, that is the fucking hip thing right there. Like, throw that on some fucking Levi ad commercial.
Put a hipster guy with glasses and a beard on it, and they will sell perfectly.
Yeah, I have no idea how that's like. This is the hip thing. Maybe I'm just like an older person, but it's not even like a young thing.
Well, yeah, I was like 10 years old when that was like becoming like the in thing, and I just remember looking at it and go, that's stupid. And then like at first it started off as kind of like it was like the gangster thing to do, and then it transformed into like the emo thing. It's like now they have tight pants on, yet they're still sagging down. You can see their
there's
for Christ's sakes. And then it like transferred into the hipster kind of thing, and it's just like, God damn it, fucking pull those pants up. How the fuck?
Bernie Mac said it best in Bad Santa. And pull your damn pants up. What's wrong with you kids these days?
Simple, effective. That makes total sense. I love that.
Just have a Levi's commercial with somebody. You don't even see their upper body. You just see the jeans, just 360 of the jeans being worn the way they should. Audio from Bad Santa. Pull your damn pants up. What's wrong with y'all kids? Levi's.
Yeah, somebody's got to do something about it. Like if a clothing ad can do it, that's the only people that can fix this, because people are like cattle and they just buy what's there for them to buy, whatever somebody else tells them to get. So that's the only way it's going to be fixed. But it's weird things like that. And I don't know how that's still so popular, because I say these things happen in waves, but when it's been 20 years, you're like, is that just here to stay?
It might be.
I don't know.
It might be.
Damn. It just happens. I don't know. But that's probably a good place to wrap it all up at. So make sure to check out oldmanorange.com. Send us an email at oldmanorangepodcast@yahoo.com. We will read it on the air. Until then, I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
I'm Ryan Dunnigan.
And we will see you some other time.
Goodbye.
Thanks for listening to the Old Man Orange podcast. Check out our website at oldmanorange.com for even more podcasts, cartoons, video at oldmanorangepodcast@yahoo.com. Be sure to subscribe, share, rate, and review us on iTunes, Podomatic, or any of the other fine sites we might be located on. If you want to help out even more, click on the Amazon or GameStop links on our webpage before you make any purchases there. It won't cost you a penny, but it sends us a little something our way. Thanks again, and tune in next week for more Old Man Orange Podcast.